Dearest family members, it's a great privilege for me to be here amidst of you in this fine evening. And as the speaker who introduced me, I am not a great international speaker. I am only a small boy. My hairs look so black, and I was trying to make it slightly whiter because people don't give respect if your whole hair becomes black. So this is an artificial grey. Because nowadays people wanted to make look young, but I wanted to look old. Because he was telling, no, should have old as well as young put together. So I am young at heart. A person who can see beauty never becomes young. Anyway, I am not a good orator because my experience in giving public speak on these topics is hardly 18 to 19 months old. So I am only at the first step, learning how to walk, and I may not be able to run fast. And unless you give an encouragement and give a 2 finger for holding, probably I may not be able to reach up to the end also. So I will be very happy if your face becomes happy. If you start putting your muscles on and put the most egoistic face, I will start shivering because I will not feel at home. Before coming to today's topic, probably I should give a small background. Few of you must have heard me at different places where capsule talks were given. So this happens to be, I think, 11th or 12th program which I gave in Dubai, and added another 4 or 6 outside the peripherals in Dubai places. And tomorrow I have got another 6 programs. So that is going to be my schedule, nearly 22 to 25 programs, I think, in Dubai. Last week I had another 20 or 25 programs in Oman. Altogether, maybe more than 300 programs in last 1 year. But behind all this, some sort of reading habits which was most probably accidental. Either it is in Vastu or in astrology or in therapies. After my office hours, I'm a government servant. Department of Space is my organization. I've got some responsibilities being the part of an office which is having very limited of employees. We have hardly 100 employees. I'm the first employee of my office. So that is how by mistake I become the slightly senior person in the office. So during this few years, I did little bit of learning different topics. Main objective was to learn the Indian traditional knowledge, parallelly look at the development which happens in Western or European countries. I was trying to make some match between these two. So that is my basic interest which I have. Either it could be from biorhythm to astrology, or it could be from geobiology to Vastu, or it could be healing practices to mantra or Tantra Shastra, or it could be practices like Reiki or pranic healing to our traditional esoteric healing practices. I can go compare different things together. That is why the study happened like that for some time. And it was during that time I got one cassette of Dr. N. Gopalakrishnan, scientist from CSIR, based at Trivandrum, the honorary director of the institute called Indian Institute of Scientific Heritage, for which the chairman is Dr. M. Sambashivan, the advisor and a neurologist to the President of India. So it was a great privilege for me. It was a great opportunity when the cassette of Dr. N. Gopalakrishnan came to me, and I learned about him, and I decided I should have him at Hyderabad where I am working, to give opportunity for my fellow members, fellow family members at Hyderabad to listen to such a great personality. And I took initiative, arranged lectures, 24 lectures in 4 days, average 6 lectures. I was with him for 111 hours. From the time I picked up from the airport, dropped him back, he was talking more than 36 hours. And he inspired me. And in turn, he gave me opportunities to present my ideas at different stages in Kerala and different part of India. And one of the largest audience whichever I had was Mata Amritanandamayi's 49th birthday celebration at Cochin at Darbar Hall grounds, and it was a big surprise for me, and it was a big blessing for me. During that time or before that, I never met Mata Amritanandamayi. I never went to Amma. I could not get her blessings. It was a pleasant surprise for me that a person who have not Amma, who have not met her, I am not a disciple of Mata Amritanandamayi then. I was called to give a talk on a topic of biorhythm, and that was my topic at that place, and I had a good audience. And then the second option after that, which came again from Mata Amritanandamayi, which took me out of India. And last week I was in Muscat with one tantric expert from India, the Tantra Vidyapeetham, one of its only kind in the whole world, the institution which teaches tantric vidyas, how to do puja, and the whole Tantra Shastra. The Tantra Shastra is much more older than the Vedas, and there is only one institute, and the director of that institute, Mr. Girish, was with me. I really enjoyed my stay there. And then earlier my first lecture in Kerala was in a place called Irinjalakuda, where we have got DrTPS, which happened to be my wife's native. The first trial lecture before going to a larger audience at Trichy happened there. That was my first lecture. And I remember Mr. Girish attended my lecture there. And Girish told me that I will call you in Dubai one day. And he called me many times. I could not make it earlier to this. But when I was coming to Muscat, I had just sent him a mail telling that I am in Muscat. And that is because of him I am here. And along with him, Mr. Balu did a lot of homework, I know. He could connect to people like Narayanatan, Rajatan, Basiyatan, and many other people whom probably I am not remembering the names. And it was a big experience for me in this part of the world. I had got nearly 6 school programs. Yesterday I was in a school teaching our Indian scientific heritage to the students, talking to them that our old Vedic textbook had mathematics, astronomy, physics, chemistry, zoology, biology, maybe called Ayurveda, normal Ayurveda, health science. The kids were really thrilled. They were telling it's first time we are knowing that our traditional knowledge book, the Veda itself means knowledge, that contains this many informations. Generally people realize that we have got 4 Veda, and people will be able to tell the names of the Veda. And the next question, if I ask you how many chapters are there in each of the Veda, because when you talk about a textbook, you should know how many chapters are there. And people will start looking beside and try to vacate the place, because hardly people know that how many chapters are there. Each of them have got 25, 100, 1000 and 40 number of chapters. So you can imagine a book containing 1000 chapters at a time when the other part of the world even doesn't know how to write alphabets. And this was our traditional knowledge. Beyond that, we have got the Tantra Shastra, which is much older, I said, in which it talks about a very nice topic which I was not much aware, but for last 1 week I had a good person who is an authority on that topic, and he says every human being have got desire, and every human being has got desire, and a knowledge book should always have solution for your desires. If the desire cannot be satisfied by your knowledge, then your knowledge becomes useless. It could be a desire that I have to kill somebody, but you should have a knowledge for killing him, and you should know the method for killing him. Probably my desire could be to smash somebody, make him to suffer, somehow see that his life is useless. There has to be a solution. Tantra Shastra describes such solutions also. But people mistake most of the time that Tantra Shastra only means that. That's only black magic. And there is another category of people who believes that Tantra Shastra means only sex. But Tantra Shastra means much more than that. That means temple rituals, doing puja, getting avahana and udvahana, inviting the power and sending the power back. And for that there are a lot of rituals. These are also the core part of Tantra Shastra. So there may not be any thing which is not available or which is not touched upon in our traditional knowledge put together, maybe Vedas and Tantra Shastras. But they were also categorized as Vedangas, Upanishads and Upavedas, Idihasas, Brahmanas and etc. etc. If I put all the books together, probably one full library which contains in this room probably will not be sufficient. That many books may be available. We have got 108 Upanishads, and any of the Upanishads contains lot of informations which can be quoted left, right, including science, philosophy, spirituality and so on and so forth. We must be proud to be the part of the land where this much information was available, and still it continues to be available, because nothing is lost. You look at the other part of the world across, you can see there are a lot of different parts. In Germany, the Germanism have lost. Egyptianism have lost. Mesopotamia, nothing exists. You can see most of the other parts, maybe some pyramids may be there here and there, maybe something else will be as monuments available. But the culture which they had, the spirituality or the philosophy or the belief or the faith or the way of living have been totally changed. But only in India, only in Bharat, the core essence of what we are still exists. You may have the flashy look, you may have some fascination towards the Western life, but still inside of your heart there will be a feeling which is beyond all this, and that remains in us after thousands and thousands of years. Maybe 500 generations are over, you have not touched with one of the topic, but still that will be within you. I was quoting and telling in most of those schools, generally kids will learn that there are 7 wonders. There are 7 wonders in the world, but we say that there is only one wonder in the world, and the wonder is chanting of the mantras in Bharat. You call somebody from Jammu Kashmir, you put him here onto the stage, ask him to chant one Vedic mantra, ask him to get out of this place. Call somebody from Gujarat, ask him to repeat the same, ask him to go out of the room. Call somebody from West Bengal, do the same thing. Don't call from Kerala, call from Tamil Nadu, because Kerala chanting is slightly different. And then ask all of them to chant. You just record them, mix them together, Ask anybody to distinguish which part of the world they were coming, which part of India they were coming from. I'm sure you will not be able to distinguish. There will not be no difference either in the ups and downs. No rhythm change will be there. No nasigam, anunasigam, nothing will change. It will be exactly the same. And I can assure you, they never learned this from the same masters. Their masters. You go 400 generations back, probably they must not have met each other. They have never learned it by putting the cassette. The same author's cassette was also not put. And how is it possible? Is it possible ever, anywhere in the world, that this sort of a knowledge can be carried forward from mouth to ear, not written down, not advanced technology of cassette recording, nothing have been used? Is it really possible? The answer is no. The music, the Veda, the rhythm is within you, and whenever you chant, it automatically becomes so. And it need not be trained just like that, it is not required. So it just comes from the heart, and the heart of the Indians remains same. Either you belong to this place or another place. And the Kerala is not different, not because of this reason, because that was the most advanced chanting practice which happened. Maybe I can touch upon that after some time if I remember that time. And we must be proud and privileged to be the part of the land where this sort of a culture exists even after 10,000 and 10,000 of years. Himalayam samarabhya yavat hindus sarovaram tam deva nirmidam desham Hindustanam prachakshade. The Hindustanam is the land of devas. It has been created, constructed, maintained, served and serviced by God. And that have to be our privilege, and we should go on telling that we belong to that part of the land where we have got this many informations. And this is Tam Deva Nirmidam Desham. It is created by God. And this is the privilege which we all have. And all of us have been filled with little bit of the godness inside us. Little bit of godliness within us. And that is what makes us to get together like this. Otherwise, I don't think a person who is not known, like Dr. Shashikumar, is not heard by anybody here. Maybe hardly 1 or 2 people may know me. But the reason for all of you to gather here is not because Dr. Shashikumar is known or he is famous. The reason is because I am talking about a topic which is inside your heart. Assume that I start talking about space department, little bit of mathematics, I know the half of the people will go in half an hour time. If you are staying back till the end of my lecture, the reason is because the topic which I am talking is close to your heart, and it is yours and not mine. And I am not giving no new information to you. And it is only reminding you some of the things probably you must have forgotten, or maybe trying to dust that part of your heart and say that it is in you. Please look inside your heart. You will have much more information than what I have at this younger heart. Probably you will have much more information with you. That's what I am trying to say. And that's what I am trying to do. And this part of the world we have, the India is not the India which can be put into 2 borders. And it says, it have got the person who lives in India thinks that your brother and sister, Madhurbu, Pitrubhu Chaiva, and that is the land is yours as your mother and father. Whoever belongs to that nation, who considers himself is the part of the land, and who considers the land is his motherland and fatherland, probably he is considered as an Indian. We don't distinguish by caste, no distinction telling that he comes from some other land. We are the only nation who have accepted any other part of the world, no restrictions. I am seeing many of the part of the world when you travel, there are restrictions on your faith, restrictions on your belief, restrictions on putting this, restrictions on putting that. India never did so. He says, whomever you are, you continue to be in your faith, but only when you are living in our land. If you are drinking the water of India, you are drinking the mud of India, if you are living on this, probably just look at our land and feel that you are part of this, then you happen to become an Indian. You can have dual citizens also, no problem for us. And we had so many number of books which have got thousands and thousands of chapters. India never said you cannot add one more textbook inside that. We said go ahead, put that also. Part of your textbook also can be kept in our library. We have no problem. But we had only problem when we say that your textbooks cannot be kept, only my textbook is the best textbook. Then there is some small reservation for us. Because people should be able to look at this textbook and say that what it contains, and does it contain something new, and is there any difference? Show me what is the difference. Look at that and say that it remains different, and let us get convinced then we will see that okay, this can be accepted. The path is same, our aim is same, but probably when there is a small diversion, people like to look at that, because India we had the problem of more liberty, and what we think is the liberty makes us to think wider, larger, but I think that has given some problem, and people started taking their own path from different directions, ultimately forgetting which is your aim that need to be taught. So we decided at Indian Institute of Scientific Heritage, this is the science era, scientific era. If you cannot tell them what is the scientific explanation for few of the things, people will not accept just like that. Unless you see, people will not accept like that. And Indian traditional knowledge also, it believes that just by telling pass by and just by giving some comments on passing comments, people will not accept, because it says that whatever you can experience, whatever you can feel yours, whatever you understand, whatever you see, only have to be believed. And it is not what you hear, whatever Guru says, and whatever you read from somewhere need not be accepted. Na sruto, na guru darshitaha. Na guru, na guru darshitaka. Whatever you hear and whatever you hear from somebody, or whatever somebody tells you, don't believe it. Whatever can be experienced is what you should accept. But the last sentence of that sloka, I'm skipping some of them because I have to cover a little more subjects. It says, Lokanam upakaraya edat sarvam pradarshitam. Whatever is useful for human being is what is to be carried forward. So if something exists in India, which is traditional knowledge, which is carried forward for last 10,000 years, the reason is because that is useful for human being. If it is not for useful, you will not keep it more than a week. If it is not useful, you are not going to keep something. If the essence in our faith, the essence in our belief, the essence in the philosophy which we have is available with us even after 10,000 years, the only reason is there is something within that, and something within that is useful for human being. So let us understand what is that is useful for human being, and what is that we are keeping, and what is the scientific analysis on at least some of them. I cannot explain the total scientific analysis on this for everything what we have, because you can explain something within what it contains. If the science contains the whole information, I can use science and explain everything within that. If the information is outside science, I cannot use the umbrella of science to explain what is outside that. So most of the informations and many of the things what we know is outside the scientific umbrella, which is not Shastra, which is science. If you say scientific number, which we call it as science, and Shastra is slightly different, because Shastram means something more than science which we know in the modern terminology. For example, Saundarya Shastram is a Shastra in India. Saundarya Shastram is what is called a literature, because literature contains Saundarya Shastram. It uses for explaining Saundarya, and there is a Shastram for that. But in science it will not become part of it. We say Artha Shastram, that is economics, but economics is not science for many of the people. Okay, so there are a lot of examples which says we have got Shastra, and this need not be under the umbrella of science. So modern science will not be able to explain many of the things. And probably if you can experience it, you need not go for experimentation. If somebody can measure, somebody can show you, then only you believe, then it becomes really difficult. If you can experience it, then you should believe. For example, the mother's love to the skid, you can only experience. You cannot have an apparatus to measure it and say that it weighs 100 kg. And some other mother have got only 10 kg now. It is not possible. But you can experience it. When somebody looks at you, you know that whether he likes you or not, whether he is in angry mood or not, you may not have an equipment to measure and see that how does he look like. So this is not possible sometimes. So if it is not possible, probably you have to take that an experience which you can have also have to be put under the umbrella of science or Shastra. That's what the basic premise on which I am trying to build this today's analysis on the spirituality. Probably you can only feel it, you can understand it, you can really get into your heart and then look back and ask that whether it is true, and that heart says it is true. Probably your intellect or the brain will not totally agree with that. It may have some contradictions, but it doesn't matter, because the human being is not just the intelligence, but it contains much more than that. Probably if you start analyzing the English which I am using, your brain will start thinking that there is nothing inside that. But look at your heart inside and say that, is there anything? Then it gives an answer to you, yes, there is something. And that is what the ultimate aim of this talk. It may not be intellectually thrilling, but it will be in your heart, something you will carry when you go outside, and then I am happy. So that is the introduction which I have to give you on today's talk. When we talk about India, I like to quote the latest, or probably the latest one which struck me. That is recently, last year I think in October or so, the National Geographic or BBC, I don't remember, a set of cameramen with some doctors, some scientists came to our Himalayan region and asked some of the saints who were wandering there with only a small towel and half naked, they don't use shirt or woolen cloth or something, no gloves, and there is no socks and shoe, no cap, woolen cap is also not there, and they are living in the Himalayas. In the cold area where only snow and the white bear only can live, and in such a place where no people can wander there and then live without having a muffler, without having a woolen socks, without a gloves, and without covering the body, they just wander there and then live. And the people from this media asked them, how you are living here? Is it possible for some human being to live in such a condition without all these preparations? And the answer given was the second alphabet of our language, A. That is the alphabet we have for most of the questions. That is enough. If you learn one alphabet, you can answer everything in the world. It's very easy. The second alphabet you learn, any questions in the world can be answered. So that is what they also said. The reason is not known. Nobody can explain that. There is no science behind their life. And when they asked, generally the saints are very good people, they will take bath every day. How do you take bath? There is no water available, it's all ice. They just went there beside some glacier and chanted some slokas. The glacier became water. And then after that, they wanted to wash their clothes. They are normal, their job, they took bath, washed their small towel, we call in Malayalam tort. The same towel they washed once, squeezed well, you put it for drying. If you put it for drying for months together, it will not dry because the season is so cold. How can you dry a cloth there in that season? It's not possible. Without drying, you cannot wear. So what you will do? You should have many pairs of clothes normally. Otherwise, you cannot have. Otherwise, you should decide that you are not going to wash. But they decided they will wash every day and then only they will wear. They will also wear it only after drying. So it's a big contradiction. They cannot do anything. And how do you dry? They just put it onto their body, closed their eyes, started meditating. After 2 minutes, took it out and it was dried properly. And it was a wonder for the media people. They asked, how is it possible? Again, the answer is second alphabet. But they did not leave. They started measuring the temperature of the body before going for meditation. And after completing the meditation, they found there is a difference of temperature, body temperature 17 Fahrenheit. That means just in 2 minutes you can change your body temperature 17 Fahrenheit. It may be a wonder for most of the people. It's not that wonder. You ask the students before going for examination, they will raise the temperature just like that. We call it as exam fever. So it's possible for all of us. Only thing it happens when you have got exam. When you really require, you cannot. And most of the mothers, when the kids' mark becomes too low, they get fever. So this is also possible. And this is just possible because your mind asks you to work in certain style, then your body starts reacting. And it is quite possible because the body's reaction is governed by the mind reaction, and the mind reaction is governed by the body. How is it possible? If my lecture is so boring, I know that 50% or 60% of the people will get headache. Because your mind says that this lecture is boring, and go on thinking that this lecture is boring, your body has to react, because whatever the mind says, the body has to listen to that, and you will start getting headache, and you have an excuse telling that I have a headache, I am going out. And assume that some of you have got cold. Probably whatever good lecture I give, at the end of the day you will feel that it was so boring because I have got a severe cold. Your mind starts telling that it is not that acceptable to you, and it happens to you. Or look at the young teenage people. When their hormone starts developing, they get feeling, and it is the part of the body which develops the hormone, and the feeling comes to the mind, feeling comes inside your heart, and the feeling starts getting inside your heart, the hormone starts reacting. So the body starts as your mind says. And how is it explained in our Shastras? Sharira manaso yoga parasparamanu prajet adhara adeya bhavena, etc., etc. It goes. It says that your body and mind is so related. When you take a cold burden, cold vessel, or put in hot oil inside that, the hotness of the oil gets transferred onto the cold vessel, and the vessel starts getting heated up. You do the other way, and it happens so. That means when your mind starts reacting, the body gets an effect, and the body starts getting an effect, the mind also starts reacting accordingly. And this is the science which we have. And this is quite possible for you to increase your temperature, decrease your temperature. So is it possible for you to think that you are happier and your body becomes some happiest? Or maybe can you think that you wanted to live longer, and can you live longer? Yes, these are all possible. If you think that you are younger, you become younger. If you think you are too old, then you become old. And it is quite possible. And probably that could be the reason the people who in our Himalayas lived for the full life, we call full life as 120 years. Our life expectancy of today has become less and less, reduced. Most of us are just like that living. Just because there is some medicine, on that only people will live. I can see people who are taking 20 tablets per day, and just they are pulling on living like this on the tablets. Are they really living? Ask a question. They are not really living. They are pretending as they are living, and they are trying to live for some more time. Those were the days when people lived 120 years without any problems. What is the explanation for this? It's very, very difficult to explain. But it says that the people who live on the top, mountain top, there is an electromagnetic energy which is much higher potential than what is available in the lower places. That could be one of the reasons our saints chosen that as for the living place. And the climate doesn't matter. The electromagnetic energy around you matters more than whether it is hot temperature or cold temperature, whether it have dust or not. And electromagnetic energy has got a large difference at that area, and if it is slightly humidity more, maybe slightly wet area, then electromagnetic energy effect on the living being becomes much more, because you know when your hand is wet, you touch on the electric, you get more shock. So if there is an electromagnetic energy around you which is slightly higher, and then if it is a wet region, probably the effect on you increases more, and you can have the best benefit of that energy source. And this is probably one of the reasons when in the Himalayan region that you have got a different electromagnetic energy which is higher potential than the lower region, and the wetness is also there, so they get the benefit of it and they will be living much longer. And we have a belief that if you eat more, then you can become much better and you can live longer. Our science, tomorrow I have got another lecture on Ayurveda, so I thought I will skip that, but this I like to mention. We generally believe we are very good at making people to eat, and Bharat only may be the one country, if you have got 100 people for a feast, we will cook for 200. If you have got 4 people at home, you will cook for 8. And you have got this much people in India, the so vast, so large population, you can imagine the cooking which wastes for 1 year is enough for us to live for another 2 years. Because every home in India cooks food much more than really what they consume. Being a poor nation, we don't have much resources, but still we have not learned the lesson of cooking exactly what is required. You call somebody at home, I have got Narayanatan with me, he says that without 6 curries he cannot eat. And I asked him, no, without 6 curries he cannot eat every day. You ask anybody in the other part of the land, you call somebody for lunch or dinner, they will ask you what is that you want, you tell your menu. And how many chapatis you will eat, how many grams of rice you will eat. Only I will prepare exactly that is what is for you. And whether you like it or not, you have to eat. Otherwise, you have to pack it off and take it and go, because we cannot waste. And India, we have got all the problems, but still we are much more better in giving food to somebody, serving somebody. The dharma is our basic principle. And we all eat much more than what we really require also. That is one of the biggest problems we have. Because we believe that eating more is always better, but you look at our old Shastra which says that you should only fill your stomach half with the food, and another half of the half you should fill with water and leave the quarter free. Then only your life becomes much better. You should eat only half stomach food, solid food. Half of that, that means quarter of that you should only drink water. Another quarter you put free. That is because then only the digestion happens better. You consider you have got a mixie in which you want to grind the rice. Assume that fill the total and then start putting on. What will happen? It cannot grind, no? You put little bit, take it out, fill only half, put quarter of water, or fill full with water. Will it grind? It will not. You have to leave some space for that. This was not. Our stomach is like a grinder. I'm not telling it's like a grinder. It's like an Agni in which air is required, because without firing inside your stomach, that cannot become energy, because we believe that whatever food you are eating inside, putting inside your stomach, what happens is dahanam. No? The word is dahanam. Dahanam means what? There is only 2 dahanam which happens. That is one inside your stomach every day, and at the end when my son puts me onto the graveyard on the top of the wood, he puts me the fire and chants some slokas, and I will again get fired. And ultimately I will become 60 grams of ashes. All of us becomes. Maybe you will weigh 100 grams when you are living, or maybe 50 grams, 50 kilogram or 60 kilogram. Ultimately when you are burned out, you will become 47 grams or maximum 53 grams. Somewhere between that. It does not make much difference. Whether you weigh 47 or 53, how does it make a difference? And what we think is we are so great and we are so powerful, but ultimately it is only 60 grams. Our vibhuti, when we put here, many people puts that vibhuti here, it remains as ultimately I am going to be this. The reason for putting vibhuti, one of the reason for putting vibhuti is that remind you that you are ultimately going to be this. And it also have got a scientific reason for putting vibhuti, because the more water content which you have inside your brain will get absorbed, and you will not have any sinus problem, no cold, no cough related problems, and your brain starts functioning better. So this is one another reason for that. Now we were talking about taking food. We have got a faith, belief that it says that Ega Bhuktam Mahayogi, the yogis will take only food once in a day. Ega Bhuktam Mahayogi, Once you eat, you become a Maha Yogi. Dvibhaktam Maha Bhogi, who is greedy. Eating is his favorite interest, and such people will eat twice a day. And Tribhuktam Maha Rogi, you become patient if you eat. Not patience, you will have patience. No, you will become really sick if you eat 3 times. And Chadurbhuktam Mahadrohi. If you eat 4 times, you are the most drohi here, and you are the most cruel person because you are unnecessarily eating. And most of us eat more than that times, and there was no explanation or definition or adjective which can be given to such people because they does not belong to human being. Every animal eats as and when they like. And most of us have become like that. And when you are in a city, you can see every time somebody goes to the fast food and become fast, and they will become too fast in reaching up to the end of the because you are fast in everything. Nowadays people are very fast. You don't have to study first LKG, UKG. Directly you can go to 10th, and after that you can get married faster, and you can divorce much more faster. And after that, somehow get into the settling up of houses. After setting up houses, somehow sell it out. Go, ultimately you are running towards your death, and you are become very happy. That is what we are in a hurry. And when you are in a hurry, people cannot save you. And most of the people, when you are in a hurry, and you get worried. And another problem which we have is worry. And another problem which we have is while eating itself, you want more curry. And 3 problems we have. One because of worry, one because of hurry, and one because of curry. That is what is creating most of our life problems. We believe that that is very much essential. We have got only 1 inch tongue. Our tongue which can taste our food is only less than 1 inch. Some people will have 4 inch tongue. That's a different case. If you have got only 1 inch tongue, you put food which have to get satisfied for this 1 inch. You forget that there is another 36 feet it has to move before pushing it out. And this 36 feet, the food when it goes inside, it does not understand any of the taste. So you ask, why do you eat food? It is not for taste. It is for giving you an energy. Most of the people doesn't know that why do people eat. You ask, most of the people doesn't know. Jokingly I used to tell, we have got a Malayalam channel in which Surya and Asianet, you go to any park, you will not be left just like that. They will come, some TV fellows will come behind you and ask, give me a suggestion which song you want in this. If now people are scared of them, they start running off. Now they go with a packet of some gift and selling that this gift is for you, please tell me some song. And this happened to a group of MBBS students. After MBBS, what you become? Earlier days after MBBS, people used to become doctors. Now after MBBS, they become again student of MD, MS, and they go for coaching class. And they were all coaching class students, tuition classes, They run for again tuition classes. And such group of people were in the garden. So the TV fellow came and asked, some questions also will be asked to you to check related to your area. So related to the area, this anchoring person asked, why do people drink water? It's a normal question. The MBBS student said this question is out of syllabus. In MBBS, none of the textbook, it is written, why do people drink water? No joke. It's a real thing what happened. And ultimately, one of the person among them who is a very smart student, he said, we know why people drink water, because capsule have to be swallowed. Otherwise, it comes out. Doesn't know why people drink water. You read our story of Jain's Mahavir. He lived 12.5 years only on water. He did not eat any food. Only water was sufficient for him. He takes water, walks on the sun barefoot. He walks nearly half an hour every day, and he lived without any problem. There was no health problem. And most of his life, the rest of the span, also he lived like that, often taking some food, maybe wandering around the whole part of India. And such people have become great. That means if you take water, you will become great. Don't try to do that. There is another person who became very great recently from Calicut, Kerala, who tried this, experimented on him, who read and got inspired from Mahavir's story. And he is a person who migrated from Gujarat, settled in Calicut, professionally an engineer. He stayed 221 days during 1980, late 1980s. And then, after again that, a set of doctors from World Health Organization, consisting of some of the scientists from NASA also, came to Kerala, experimented on him, asked him to stay without food for some time, only on water. 196 days he stayed. Another experiment on 2001-2002 with 443 days, doing his normal routine at office, a normal business which we have. All that he was performing and was living only on water. Only condition is he takes water, walks around the road barefooted, looking at the sun, praying for the sun to give some energy to him. And he is living without any problem. We believe that without food we cannot live. It is not necessary that food is what is giving you, and understand that it is not the food what gives you the energy, but it is something beyond that. I was feeling hungry before starting the lecture, but now I am not feeling hungry. And I can go on and on like this 8 to 10 hours or more than that if all of you looks at me for some time. If you does not look at me, I will lose my energy. What happens is all of you have taken food, all of you have sufficient energy. When you are looking at me, I am dragging energy from you. And what happens, a person who looks at me for some time, I am dragging energy from the person and you become tired. That is the reason I am shifting my eyes from eyes to eyes. Because I know you will get tired. And if I look at some of the person for more time, he gets tired and he will start looking to the next person and he drags energy from the other person. So we are all living on somebody's energy, knowingly or unknowingly. There is no explanation given how a dancer can dance for 6 to 7 hours continuously and without having any food or water, and how they can survive. The most living example which can be shown is again Mata Amritanandamayi, who sits more than 12 hours, 13 hours without having little bit of even water, does not go to toilet, just sits there and then hugging thousands and thousands and lakhs of people. We cannot do that. And it can be done only when you are not fully unconscious, because you are on meditation. Even while sitting, you are not aware that you have a problem. Mata Amritanandamayi have got such capability which is beyond human. It is unexplainable. We had a session in Cochin last 2 weeks back. Mata Amritanandamayi's birthday was celebrated. 191 country people participated. And ever, I think even Annan cannot call, our UN General Secretary cannot call 191 countries and there will be at least a few absentees. But Mata Amritanandamayi's program, every country, 191 country were present. And it is first time in the history of India, the protocol has been violated. President and Vice President cannot leave the capital city. One of them have to be there. And they violated the protocol for a third class dropout student. Mata Amritanandamayi only studied up to third class, did not finish her examination in third class. And it is nothing, that qualification is nothing. But she could get an opportunity to talk to the whole world at the UN. And even the super at the UN have to have a post-graduation. Without that, you cannot enter inside the campus, and a third class dropout, Mata Amritanandamayi, could get an opportunity to talk, because it is the Indian culture, Indian tradition, Indian values, and the love, the mother's love, which is being proclaimed and then discussed and described and told to the whole nation, telling that the peace and harmony can be attained only when you love each other. Most of us are called human beings, but we are not learning how to be human. We are not really being human. We are being inhuman in most of the cases, and still we have the title telling that we are human being. We should look back and we should look inside and then ask, are we really worth being called like this? Most of the cases we are not. Since we were talking about food, I have to give you one good lesson, telling that I generally ask at many places, how many of you are non-vegetarians? Please raise your hand, including me. I am a non-vegetarian. Please raise your hands. We should take an attendance like this. I know that some of them are scared because I am talking on spirituality. they think that if telling that non-vegetarian is not good, I am also a non-vegetarian. Now I am seeing less hands because you are not true to your heart. Okay, forgettable. Doesn't matter. Now, whenever we go to a vegetarian market, vegetable market, we select the best vegetable food. Everybody has to select the best. Now, a suggestion for all the non-vegetarians, you have to eat the best non-vegetarian food. The best non-vegetarian food is the dead body of the best animal. And which is the best animal? We all believe human being is the best animal. And the best non-vegetarian food is the dead body of ours. That is the best non-vegetarian food we have. And that is what people should eat. The non-vegetarian should always eat, because a chicken is called a chicken, a hen is called a hen, a cow is called a cow, a cat is called a cat, a fox is called a fox, a human being is called a human being only when it behaves so. And when it becomes a dead body, it does not have any behavior. Therefore, there is no difference between the meat of a different animal and a human being. And probably when you taste, you will like it more. There was a person who gave an advertisement on internet asking that if somebody wanted to commit suicide, why do you waste your body? You give me the information because I like to eat the human meat. And the advertisement was available. The police went hunting where the advertisement came from. He was caught at home, and they found that inside his house most of the fridge was filled with human flesh. And the days are not far. Maybe your friends, relatives will start waiting for your death. It's not too far, because we are becoming more like animals, more like Rakshasas, and inside us there is no life of God, and we are not becoming manly. Now, we have got a faith in India telling that 33 crores of God exist. 33 crores of God exist. I interpret slightly because my background is mathematics. I interpret slightly different. Crores is not what is to be translated on Kodi. 33 Mukkodi means 33 Kodi. 33 Kodi means 33%, because there is another translation of Kodi into percentage. That means 33% of God exists. And what is the 33% of God? In us, there is 33% of God in us, and another 67 balance is filled with the nature of human being and nature of Rakshasas. No, the bad qualities we have got 33%, good qualities which can be compared as godly nature, you have got 33%, and the rest 34% may be the human nature which we have. You assume that you wanted to raise the bad qualities, you closely relate to the Rakshasas. Assume that you want to raise your godly nature more, then you reach closer to God. And Shankara says that we are all like the sparks of the fire when the fire is the God. And as long as the fire exists only when the sparks exist. The spulingam has to come out, the fire comes out just like that. And that spulingam determines the nature of the fire which you have. Assume that the spulingam is not there, then the fire does not exist. Assume that there is ashes put onto the fire, then the spulingam does not exist. So when you make it to wonder happen, you just fire it, then it happens so. And this will happen only when you look inside your consciousness, look at each of the cells and then ask what does it do. And that happens only when you look internally. And how does it look when you look internally? All looks only atoms, molecules, nothing more than that. Any part of the land, when you focus too much, that is why chemistry people only understand atoms and only understand molecules. Your body is also filled up with a lot of molecules and nothing more than that. And some energy field, that is electromagnetic energy, nothing more than that. Put only a little bit of physics and chemistry together, people will believe that you can do some DNA and then make some human being. There are two groups of biotechnologists who believes that you can create human being, and another set of people who believes that you can only keep molecules together, but you cannot create the quality of the people, the consciousness of the people, the godliness in the people, and that is never possible. Because the explanation how our body works is not that total, and it is not available. We all have got molecules totally, and when we have got molecules or atoms inside your eye, it helps us to see, and same molecule will start moving somewhere at the ear, it starts hearing, and it helps us to hear. When it is somewhere else, it's uses for tasting, and the same atom, when it is somewhere else, it behaves in some other fashion. This is explained in our textbook in a different fashion. It says that a mother becomes a mother to the baby, and she becomes a wife to the husband, she becomes a daughter to the parent, and she becomes something else and somewhere else, maybe a subordinate to the boss, and a boss to the subordinate, a servant and somewhere else, and it is the same lady who is everywhere available in different styles. All the molecules in our body are same, all the atoms are same, but when it takes positions at different places, it knows how to behave, because there is something which talks about the consciousness of the cell, which tells that this is how you have to behave. And the consciousness is again unexplainable. We cannot explain why it does so, and it does not explain it totally. If you have got a cut on your body, the doctor stitches it, and we believe that the doctor heals us. And it is not the doctor who heals us, it is our own body which heals us. Because the doctor only keeps them together, and after that it starts stitching the cells put together. That is done by the cell which we have in our body. Remember that none of the cell did so and never attended such a job earlier to this, because you don't have cuts earlier in that part of the body sometime, and probably never earlier in 7 years of time. Why in the 7 years? Because none of the cell in your body remains or have got a life more than 7 years. Each cell in your body have got lifespan only of 7 years, but you look so, and you look so not that different even after 7 years, because there is a constitution which makes a constitution for your body, a conscious in your body, which says that this is how you look like, and this is how you have to look like. And that is said because it is not the body which is important. There is a prana which covers the body, and there is a mind which covers the body, and there is a vijnanam, the knowledge that covers the body, other part, and there is an anandamaya kosham which is much more important. And these different koshas are explained in our textbook of Lalita Sahasranamam also. Pancha koshastida, and it says that 5 different layers exist in your body, and it explains that it have got a manonmaya kosham, vijnanamaya kosham, and pranamaya kosham, manonmaya kosham, vijnanamaya kosham, anandamaya kosham. When you open up your anandamaya kosham, the knowledge gets in. You open up your knowledge, the mind becomes better, you becomes a broad-minded person, and you open your mind, then your prana becomes much better, and then your body gets almost get fit. And this is what is explained in our textbook. And this is nothing but the knowledge, mind, happiness, and the prana is nothing but electromagnetic energies, which I was explaining in the beginning. And now the task is for us to build this knowledge, build this prana, build this mind, build this happiness. Is there any way of increasing it? Just like that I was mentioning, that if you are on the top of the hill, and if it is a wet region, probably the electromagnetic energy effect on your body will be much more than what you have in another part of the land. But you don't have to go there. Every people cannot go there and stay. When you are staying at this place, at any part of the world, you must have some mechanism for increasing this energy levels, which is the prana, manas, vijnana, and anandamaya kosham. The ultimate aim of all of us is to become happier. You ask somebody, what is that you want? Most of the people will ask for money. All of them require money. You ask, why do you want money? The answer will be that you want to become happier. In the money does not make somebody happy. The reason is because if you think that the money which can make you happier, the materialistic life can make you happier, I think everybody is mistaken. Because assume that I like to have a TV at my home, and I give the desire of having a TV to one of my friend, and he gets me a TV. Somebody else also heard me telling that I like a TV, and the second friend of mine gives another TV. Then what happens to me? The first TV comes to me, I becomes happy, and the second TV comes to me, I become sad. I will think that he could have given something else, microwave oven, why TV again? Two TVs are useless. So if you does not become double happy, when you get something double, that means that happiness is not totally a constant happiness, a permanent happiness. A permanent happiness is only one which makes you double happy when you get something double. For example, a mother comes and hugs the baby and gives a kiss, and when second time she does it feel that okay, somebody else should have kissed me but not mother, because the happiness you get is slightly different? I don't think so. You become double happy, and you are never tired when you go to a temple, and second time when you go, it is not that your happiness becomes double, it becomes much more than that, because the happiness by getting into this sort of a feeling is exponentially explained. It is not double, it is not linearly explained. When you have got one spotlight, it gives a light. You can measure the intensity of light using flux meter. Assume that you have got another light, again that intensity can be measured. You put two lights together, it is not adding two intensities together what you will feel. It is exactly an exponential ratio in which it grows. If you have got 10 of them, the light inside your room is not added 10 light sources together, but it has got much more power than that. That is why we say that the light have got an exponential growth. Same is the case with the happiness which somebody gets, and that is the way you have to become happier. And to become happier, there are many ways. I explain your life is governed by three different basic prime things, and our ultimate aim is to become happier. And what we look for the happiness, you should have taken birth in the best family possible, but you have no option. Not your choice. You cannot decide that I have to take birth in so and so person's house. It is not in your option. And you must be able to take birth in the best possible time and the best place. That means your place of birth and the date of birth and the family which you belong to have to be the best. And it is not we who decides that. And that is what is explained in astrology. Your place of birth, your time of birth, and the family in which you have taken birth is explained in your horoscope. And now horoscope is no more horoscope, it is a horoscope. Because most of the people are getting worried when you see the horoscope. They will have some problems to tell, and they have also solutions ready made, and they will tell you what is to be done. Only you require money. If you have got money, they will give you solutions. If you don't have money, no solutions for that, because money is the solution for most of our problems today. The next, I said this is one particular object which determines your house positions of different grahas, and that determines your character and how good you are, how bad you are, and what is your fate, mostly up to 60% to 70%. The next, probably you are all living in India or probably in some part of the land. If your state of living or the status of living, the features which you have, the facilities which you have, the happiness which you derive, all that determines in which place you are living, at what place you are at work, and where is your place of activity and which place you are living. That determines how happy you are. Assume that I am giving this lecture in some other part of the world, probably I will not be this happy. And the place where your activity happens makes you to feel that you are happy or not. So this is the second character which you have, the place of activity, the place of living, and that is what is misinterpreted today in terms of Vastu. Because the house in which you are living, the place in which you are working is what is called as Vastu, and that is also another big threat to the people nowadays. We have got Vastu experts in Hyderabad who were all contractors earlier. They are all building contractors constructing flats. They constructed 2-3 flats, and when you construct apartments, 2-3 apartments, you have got nearly 60 houses being constructed, and each of the house owner will bring their own Vastu experts from different part. It's a true cosmopolitan city. You have got Kerala people living there. He goes on to the Kerala style of Vastu and he builds his house like that. If you are building an apartment, 3-4 apartment, and the apartment contractor will learn Vastu of every part of the land. And ultimately he understands that the Vastu consultation is the most profitable business than even doing constructing flats and selling. Most of the apartment sellers, most of the contractors, even the masons started doing this job now, because this is a very difficult job. Here this is very good. Somebody will bring you in a car, show you whether this is required. It is very easy. You have to tell them to demolish this, start constructing there, demolish that part, putting up here, and that is the solution you can give. And then once it is done, and you are done. Either you make a flat or you become flat. I have seen houses in which where the kitchen was available that has turned into a toilet, and the puja room has been converted into a bathroom, and another bathroom is converted into puja room, because the northeast has to be good in Andhra, and Kerala northeast is not that good. It's very difficult. That is how the people start interpreting. But it is very important. The place where you live is important, and it has to be dealt scientifically. It has to be dealt with the reasoning. It has to be dealt with the logic, and it has to be dealt with the geography and the environment in which you are living. And that is very, very important. And third thing, which anyway is in our control, the second thing is also not in our control, because we are all like crow. I used to tell that why you are all in this part of the land, just because you are a crow. The ship was beside the shore, and the crow by mistake got into the ship, and the ship started moving, and you reached the other part of the land. And it is not in your control. The fate takes you where the ship goes, and you cannot fly back sometime. I have seen some people today morning. I met somebody who says that I decided to come to this part of the world for working for 2 years, and then actually I wanted to go back. Now I have passed 35 years. Now I have decided that I will go back after 2 years. And I said that you still wanted to live 35 years more in this part of the world. And this is how people will decide, They cannot escape, because once you are inside this, it's a trap. The ship is moving like this, and the shore is too far, and you cannot fly back. Unless the ship goes back, you cannot go back. And there has to be some time when your fate says that you will go back, then you can become. And you cannot change your house. You cannot change your house in the horoscope. You cannot change your place of living the other house also. And the third thing is much more important, which was insisted by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, telling that karma is much more important. But generally we are lazy. We say that karma is very difficult. And there is a proverb, karma. That karma, that means it is very difficult. Whatever is difficult, we will say it is karma. And whatever is easier, we don't call it as karma. So karma itself is very difficult. It has become a synonym for becoming something difficult and bad, is what we have got karma today. And this you have no escape. If you cannot control your karma, let you have the best horoscope and the best place of living, probably you cannot live longer. You can see most of the people who took birth in the best family, they were all very good, but after some time they have become so pauper, They have become down to the earth just because they did not do any job. They have not tried their job. They have not lived their life with working mentality. It is not possible, then you cannot. I have a synonym or a similar story which talks about what does it mean to you. If I explain in the modern terminology, probably you will understand better. Assume that you have a horoscope, and the horoscope in which gives you, and that is what you have to go along with. You have no option to change, and that is a vehicle given to you. And if it is a good horoscope, maybe it may be a Toyota or a Mercedes Benz or something like that. Or probably if a horoscope is slightly bad, you assume that it is a Maruti car given to you or Maruti van given to you. And that is what you are inside, and the whole door is closed, and you are supposed to drive that and then go. That means you cannot change your vehicle as you cannot change your horoscope. And the vehicle may have some clutch problem, some gear problem, some steering problem. As you have your Rahu maybe on 8th instead of Guru is having on 9th, you may have Saturn on 2nd or Saturn on 8th or 6th, which will give you some problems. These are all possible. That is equivalent to having no brake for your vehicle, maybe having clutch is not working perfectly, maybe the steering is not very perfect, it is not balanced properly. The air is also not that good. But you should have little bit of air, is in running condition. If it is not there, then your horoscope is very bad, you are no more available. That is what can be interpreted. And you are put inside that and you are supposed to drive. And the road which you are moving is the place where you are working and the place where you are living, and that is where you are supposed to drive. And you cannot imagine that every road is as smooth as the Dubai roads. You will have all ups and downs and then all the problems which probably you can see in most of the part of India. You have got a lot of down, up and all that. I used to ask, for driving in India, you need 2-3 qualities: a good horn and a good light and good luck. That is more important. If you have all the 3 also, all the 2 also, you cannot drive properly. The third one is much more important. And similarly, when you want to drive, you will have all the troubles on the road, and that is where you are living, and you have no option to change the road because you have decided to drive in this fashion, and you have to reach up to the end. And this vehicle cannot be changed, the road cannot be changed, and if you don't know driving, you cannot drive anyway. The karma is equivalent to your driving capability. Assume that you have got the worst vehicle and the worst road. If you are a good driver, you will have no complaints on the road and the vehicle. Will you have? You will not have. You know how to drive. Assume that you have the best horoscope, that means the best vehicle, and you are living in the best place possible, that means the road is also perfectly well, but you do not drive it. The first take itself, you will meet with an accident. You will meet with an accident. So that means your karma cannot be good. Then don't complain about your horoscope and vastu. The dwelling where you are living, the place around you, the people around you does not matter to you if you are a good karmic. And try to become a good karmic, and which is the most difficult thing, and therefore, and you cannot give some bribe there. And horoscope you can bribe, vastu you can bribe, you can get somebody to do something for you, and it is quite possible, but you cannot change your karma, and it is very difficult to become a good karmic. So what is to be done, and how do you drive yourself and go ahead? Only when you are living in the best part of the land, and that is not your choice, and the only choice what you have is to have a good karma and live better. Now today people are telling you, if you have got some problem in your house, feng shui, no? Feng shui. What is to be done? You keep a third-legged frog there, and tomorrow your business will become great. Correct, no? And you put an aquarium there, and then your family problem will get solved. You will have no family problem because all the time you will be looking at that. I have a person who came to me at Hyderabad, who is a wholesale merchant of feng shui. Apart all the articles he sells, he met with 3 accidents in 1 month. And I asked him how your vastu is not very good. And he came to me for consultation. I have to check his house as per our traditional vastu. Then I asked him, why you are consulting me? You yourself is a good expert. That is business. This is my life. Don't disturb me. Last week I was in Oman. The first day I entered there, somebody gave a card telling that he is an astrologer, he is a numerologist, he is a palmist, he is a gemologist, and what not. Everything under one umbrella, one card. You can have supermarket, no? You go for anything, you will get there. And I asked him, when somebody come for consultation, what do you suggest him? It's up to his choice. Everything is with me. And second day and third day after my lecture, he gave his horoscope and asked me, you please check how I will do my business. I'll tell you after a few lectures, you will know how do you do your business here. I exposed and told that there are a lot of bogus people around. Be very careful. They themselves doesn't know their fate. And fourth day he comes and tells in Malayalam, "Enda vayattu tadichallo." That means his job is no more. No, he cannot do business in this part of the world because I said, don't believe on horoscope. It's only signal boards to you. It tells you that you have got some problem ahead of you, but doesn't mean that you stop driving. And by doing anything, you cannot change the road. You have to still drive. Only thing it can tell you that there is a sharp curve. Change your gear. Be careful and then drive slowly. And there is a sharp up, then change your gear, put into first gear and then go. There is a sharp down coming, start applying your brake, don't put accelerator. Horoscope can only give you warnings and it cannot change your fate. Somebody was asking me, my guru is in 8th, so my son is not studying well, what is to be done? I said, you do something to transfer this guru from 8th to 9th. Is it possible by changing your, no? You cannot do something where in which your horoscope, no? In this, from this Rashi you have to change it to the next Rashi. It is not possible. Then why do you do all this? And most of the horoscope readers have got a tie-up with the priest or some pujari who does puja for you, and the suggestion given is, you have this problem, you do this puja and then come back to me. If that is not solved, I will suggest you something else. And it's not guaranteed. And after some time you are fed up with this, you go to another astrologer, he will tell you the problem is not because of that, you should put some ring. And what is that ring? And that is the biggest ring which you are going around. You cannot get out of that. And you ask them, why do people put ring? Scientifically, when you take birth, there are different planets which influences you. There are some multiple planets which crosses together and a complex way of affecting you together, because it is not individually, it is not a linear dynamics, it's a non-linear dynamics. Therefore each graha will affect you. Also combinations of some of the graha will affect you, and that could be Rahu and Ketu. It's a conceptual one, Sankalpa. And if that Rahu and Ketu does not exist, it's only Sankalpa. And that Sankalpa also will affect you, and that gives you some energy which is also mostly governed by the sun energy. And you have to accept all this energy for a better living. Assume that you have got some problem on your body, and such you are not able to absorb the 7 layers of sunlight, and to another layer ultraviolet and infrared. That means 9 different colors you are not able to absorb, and your body is not accepting that. Then you need injection. And that injection is coming in terms of gems, in which this part of the gem accepts the sun energy and the back part is open, and the cutting makes sure that it is giving an injection to you. And you cannot give a general injection. It for each of the problem at each of the finger you should give injection along with, and you cannot use the same needle for all purposes, either in silver, copper or gold. You should use accordingly, and actual dose also have to be prescribed depending on the severity of the problem which you have. And how do you identify what is the real problem? You have to see the horoscope perfectly. And most of the gemmologists, the so-called gemmologists, doesn't learn astrology and still they prescribe. And what happens? It depends on your luck. I have got a gemologist who is practicing in Kerala. Earlier he was in Hyderabad. He tells you, before wearing it in the gold, you tie it with a small rope at this place, and if you leave tomorrow, you wear it. It could also endanger your life. And there is no explanation given what is to be given for this. I was quoting and giving an example from Mahabharata story, which talks about when Bhima goes for the Samantaka flower for collecting for Sita, Samantaka Pushpam, he goes. On the way, he meets an elephant being swallowed by a snake, and the snake swallowed the 2 back legs, and the elephant started shouting, crying for help, and a lion comes from the neighboring den, and Bhima was thinking that the lion will get escaped, somehow the elephant will escape, somehow the lion will help the elephant to escape. But what does the elephant do? The lion does? It comes to the elephant's the head part, smashes on the top, and then eats the head portion of it. Most of our astrologers, most of our Vastu experts are this lion. You are the elephant, you are in real trouble, and when you cry for help, you go to an astrologer and a Vastu expert when you have a real problem. That time the astrologer comes as the lion and eats away your portion, what you have left with. And when he comes, he takes off your money, he takes off your time, he takes off your mental peace, and start grabbing all the opportunity, and they become better. There are people who comes with some yantras. I call it a Dana Abaharana yantra. They are all Dana Abaharana yantra. What they come, they will tell you, if you have some problem, keep this inside your house, you will become rich. If he becomes rich, he can keep inside your house and then he can sleep perfectly well. No? Why he has to go around and then do this business? You cannot. If you don't do good karma, do all these things, you cannot. Karma is much more important. I'm trying to only stress that the karma is much more important. And if you don't become a good karmi, you cannot have shortcuts and attain something just like that overnight. It is not possible. We all live 60 years in this land, maybe 70 years in this land, 90 years and 120 years. Assume that the average lifespan is 60 years. What is that we are trying to do? When we do karma, we tell that I have lived my life for my son, and ultimately he left me, he went to US, he got married to somebody else there, he got settled there, now I have become alone, I have spoiled my whole life for my son. I have only one question to them. Did you have this son at the time of you took birth? The whole life? You cannot have a son when you take birth at home. You must have had your son at the 30 years time. That means half of your life for whom you have lived, for yourself. And how many years you really lived? If you have got 60 years, 24 hours is per day, and 8 hours we sleep. Government employees sleeps much more than that in the office. Forget about it. Assume that you have got 8 years and 8 hours you are sleeping in 24 hours. That means when you live 60 years, you are sleeping 20 years. And 20 years you are sleeping not for your wife, not for your son, not for the society, and for yourself. And you keep an account of, we are very good in keeping account. No? When you get salary, maybe 10,000 rupees I get salary from my office, and I will keep account. I have given 10 paise to the beggar. I have travelled this much, bus ticket is this much. End of the month, I will tell that I have balance of this much, minus 300 rupees. I have to pay somebody else. Every month you will have something carry forward like this, and you keep very good in keeping account. At the end of 60 years, you ask, what is your credibility, balance, and what is your credit which you have on your life? Nobody have thought about it, because we don't believe our life is that precious. Money is much more precious than life. Okay, and most of us, jokingly again I will tell you, when you go to a temple in Kerala basically, and most of the part in India, when you get down, you don't have to go to even temple also. Wherever you go, somebody will ask you, Amma. No, there will be a lot of beggars around you, and they will ask you some money. And what you do? You give, maybe if you are coming from abroad, you have to give minimum 10 rupees, otherwise they will throw at your face. And maybe you are paying some 5 rupees or 1, maybe if you are Indian, government employees, we will pay 1 rupee. If you are paying 1 rupee to him or her, when you enter, you are very happy, you will look at around and see that, see, I am paying. You know, be proud that we are paying it, you know, you become much more great than the other person who is not paying. And when you enter inside, you have darshan and all that, and beg to the God that you need this and that. You are a beggar really, that's why you are going inside. Because you are going inside for getting something only, otherwise nobody goes to temples nowadays. And you ask that, you should get this business, you should get that business, your daughter should get married to the best person without giving dowry and all that, somebody should carry for. And all these you will start praying all that, and after that, when you come back, again the beggar asks you, Amma, give me some more. Give me something, he will ask, and they will you will tell the beggar that, while going, I paid you. While coming back, why you are asking me? And the beggar asks you back, poor fellow, you remembered my name, and you remembered my face, you remembered the person perfectly well for 1 rupee. And I, being a beggar, did not remember your face for 1 rupee. And who is the real beggar here? So we demand the beggar to remember our face, and that beggar does not remember your face, but you remember the beggar face perfectly well. So you are the real beggar. And we don't understand this fate of life. It's very, very difficult. Don't ever try to remember what you have given to somebody else. Because in Bharat Dharma, once something is given to somebody, it is not yours. Never think of what you have given to somebody, never think of what you can get. Dharma is one of the basic principles, and that is based on Dharma, the whole life started developed, and that is how the Indian philosophy talks about Dharma is the living. It also means that help the human being, fellow being, because we are anyway helpless, and we are also not helpful for any of the other animals or plants. We can only become helpful to the fellow human being, and if you are not doing so, you are failing your duty and you are not really living. Now, when you go to the temple, what you generally do is, You have got all these peripheral things what I said. I was trying to construct a story like this, which talks about you have to be a karmi. And don't just go to the temple and ask begging for some solutions. You have no option. But the basic principle in which our life lives is the prana, the mind, the knowledge, and the happiness which you have. That can be increased, that can be attained, and you become much more happier, much more knowledgeable, much more a person who have got a broad mind. Prana becomes secured and your body becomes happier. I have given some examples of food habits which makes your body perfect, and I have also given how to do dharma and become happier, and how to do dharma and become a knowledgeable person by attaining enough knowledge. But it always is that you don't have to attain every knowledge what you have. You should only learn whatever is really essential for you. Whatever is not essential for you, you did not learn. When you have real problem, you learn what you want, and how to overcome that problem you should learn, and whatever is not essential, don't learn that. There is a Bhagavad Gita which we have, which talks about knowledge and the importance of karma. And when Arjuna goes to the war field, any student who goes for examination, you will have sweating, your pen will drop down from you. The Gandivam of Arjuna was falling down. He was really sweating, seeing the examination student sweat. That is how a psychic patient reacts to the situation when he cannot face things and he about all his problems. He says that all these are belong to me, I cannot fight with them. And Lord Krishna asked, why did you prepare for examination if you cannot write examination? Why did you waste whole studying time and unnecessarily you have wasted your time? You are a Kshatriya and you are trained to fight, and during the battle if you tell that these are all human beings, very good, I cannot fight with them, you are a useless fellow, and you are neither belong to a gender, and sex cannot be determined. You are neither a woman or a man, and you are not worth calling to be a human being. Don't behave like this. Ultimately, Krishna gives him lessons. All the Tantra have been explained, and all the Tantra have been explained, and he is supposed to Jnanam. And after getting all, Krishna said, you start using all these information what I gave inside your mind, and then decide what to do. And Arjuna says that I am not able to do. Lord Krishna, please give. And he says, Sarvadharman parityaj ekam sharanam vraja. You leave everything and then surrender to me. I will tell you. That is why Krishna stands and Arjuna at the back, because he leads Arjuna, and it is the mind, knowledge, everything that you have to lead the karmi, and karmi will be in the front and the jnana will be at the back seat. Your knowledge, Krishna, represented by Krishna, and your spirituality, what is represented by Lord Krishna, your mind, what is represented by Lord Krishna, the yoga practice, what is in front, and the karmi has to follow. You should something which can be told over tea time. It can only be said during the war, at the war time, and only by Lord Krishna to Arjuna and to none other than that. And if you did not follow, it is not by mistake. Now the war is over, you are not supposed to learn this. Now what you do? Ananda Shastram Bahu Vedidavyam. There are different Shastras which is available. You need not learn everything. Alpascha Kale. It is only little bit of time people have on the world. And Bahuvascha Vigno. There are a lot of problems for human being also. And during this time, don't waste your time learning all the Shastras. And you have to be like a swan who can take milk. When you pour milk in water, you leave that to a swan, it knows how to take milk alone without drinking water. You have to be that cunning person. Every human being has to be very good in learning what is really essential. Don't try to waste your time by learning everything. Go into that core and then start consuming. That is what Lord Krishna talks to Arjuna, and not in Gita. It is in Uttara Gita. After Gita there is another Gita which is the essence of living, and it says that how to breathing is also being taught there. You know how to breathe? You know how to breathe? You go to some people, they will tell you, you don't know how to breathe. All these days you are not breathing. Why did you waste your life not breathing? You give me 1,000 rupees, I will teach you how to breathe through left and how to breathe through right, another 1,000 rupees. And then next level, I will teach you how to breathe with both noses, another 3,000 rupees. Then I will give you a certificate, you are a good breather. And it's a chain business. If I learn from my guru and I teach somebody else, give 50% to him and another 50% goes to the next guru. It's a very good chain business. No? I used to tell that, I will tell some people because breathing chance is over. Because somebody has taken patent for breathing. Now I will tell you, none of you know how to take bath. You come to me, I will teach you how to take bath. There will be a big queue, I am sure. Many people doesn't know how to take bath. That also can be taught and make money. People are really... Uttara Gita, Lord Krishna talks about how to take breath. He says, you have only 100 or 300 crores of breathing. You can get this number if I am not exact. 15 to 18 times per minute you should take breath, not more than that. All of us are taking 40 times like dogs. Dogs takes breathe 14 times and its lifespan is only 40 years. A crocodile which breathes only 3 times have got a lifespan of 300 years. That means if you are not become breathless, if your breath is less number of time, that means the frequency is very good, then you can live longer, because 120 years chamber only is given to you, that much oxygen only you can pick up. And then what happens, you breathe faster, the quantity becomes less and less, and before reaching 120 years you will become Krishna Rama Govinda. Because you are finishing off your quota much faster. So what is to be done? Breathe knowingly, consume breath only knowingly, 18 times per minute or 15 times per minute if you can control it. And this is what Lord Krishna taught Arjuna, again breathing practices. And once you breathe like that, what happens? Your oxygen goes inside and it stays in your mind for some time, inside your body for some time, inside your prana for some time. Every part of your body, it starts traveling and then comes out. There is a time to be given for the prana, oxygen, to go inside. Then it goes inside, whatever you take inside becomes prana. When it comes out, it becomes carbon dioxide. The oxygen becomes carbon dioxide. Assume that you don't do that. You just take like this. If you take breathing out and in, what happens? Oxygen goes inside, oxygen comes outside. Only in textbook you will learn that carbon dioxide comes outside. Really carbon dioxide does not come. So what happens? Inside your body, there will be a lot of impurities and toxins which will not get cleared, and therefore your body becomes sick. Most of your diseases related to blood is just because blood purification does not happen, and the blood purification happens only when you have got a good breathing practices. And if you hold your breath for more time, so that let it clean itself by long time, what will happen? It cleans itself and then stays a carbon dioxide inside your body for more time. And when you keep carbon dioxide inside your body for more time, you will get hallucination and you will like taking kanjano. You will get a real feeling that you will enjoy your life. And that is being exploited by most of the breathing practicing teachers, telling that I am taking you to the heaven. You are enjoying. It's like you can take kanja and enjoy also. Because carbon dioxide keeping in your body for more time, you will see bluish color and they will tell you you are seeing Vishnu. Yes, I am seeing Vishnu. It is not he who talks. You are in a total intoxication. And then after some time you tell him that relax, breathe out. He will say, you cannot. It has to be taken inside and breathe out slowly, and not like the gas goes out of the pressure cooker. Breathe out slowly. And for this unit, I used to teach small kids and how to breathe. And they will just take it outside, inside, no? Is a breathe in and hold it. After that, you ask them to breathe out, it goes the chush like that. So not. It has to become yours. It has to be a normal practice which comes from you. And you don't have to practice. Most of us are breathing knowingly or unknowingly, with a regular interval, and most of the people who chant sloka automatically breathes only 15 times per minute. Because when you chant slokas, when you chant prayers, you cannot take breathing in a regular interval very fast. Your frequency reduces, and if you go on chanting sloka, when I am go on talking, I am doing a real breathing exercise because I am consuming oxygen for some time, holding it, relaxes, goes back outside slowly, and I am enjoying doing that. I am meditating on my talk. When you are chanting sloka, you will meditate on chanting, and your breathing also gets controlled. Knowingly or unknowingly, you get the benefit of that. We have got to take pradakshina in the temple whenever you go, and you have to give pradakshina for each of the god. There is a prescription given for Murugan 6, for Shiva, for Vishnu, all and all. It is prescribed. The maximum number of pradakshina is prescribed for people tree. The maximum number of pradakshina is given for the people tree, arayal, peral, all that almaram. It is have to be the more, that is 7 numbers. And while chanting, you don't think about the neighbor and say that let him get a heart attack because he is troubling me. No, all that is not what is supposed to be done. You should chant telling that Mulado Brahma Rupaya, Madhyado Vishnu Rupine, Agrada Shiva Rupaya, Vricharajayade Nama. You go on chanting and then take pradakshinas. Why do you do so? Because near the people tree, the density of the oxygen is too low. That is because the shape of the people tree and the leaf have got the specific character which can de-densify the oxygen, and the oxygen density is very low. And when you take a breath, you are breathing the low density oxygen, therefore it can pass through your body much faster and better than the normal oxygen. And when you are chanting sloka, automatically the breathing exercise which I said is also happening by default, knowingly or unknowingly, and then you get a good breathing, and the benefit is not moksha. You don't think that if you take 7 pradakshina or 100 pradakshina, you will directly go to heaven. It will never happen. It tells you your respiratory problem will go, oxygen taking out and breathing out becomes perfect, therefore your blood purification happens. So any problem related to the blood, any problem related to the respiratory, asthma, cold, cough, all these problems can be solved easily by just taking pradakshina. Now you know why Indians prescribed people go morning and then do pradakshina. And the book says that, there was a book written by one of the Vedic Pandit. In the book it says that afternoon you should not take rotation. Don't do pradakshina to the people tree. I asked that author, why did you write so? Then he says that the book I referred says so. No explanation. Just think logically what happens. If the oxygen is low, very close to the people tree, when the sunlight comes, the wind starts coming, there will be a circulation which happens, therefore the oxygen starts spreading, and you cannot guarantee that you will get a low density oxygen below the people tree. And it was experimented and it found that it is true. When the sun gets hot, you don't get the low density oxygen below the people tree, but in winter, if the sun is not that hot, you get. Okay, so the scientific explanation for the doing pradakshina is that you will get benefit of blood purification and your respiratory problem can be solved. You go to the temple, there will be a big queue for the tirtham. Most of the people ask for tirtham, either paying some bribe or something, you get some small little bit of 2 drops and you are very happy and you consume that. And why do you take a tirtham? We don't know, because our mother, father told that you should consume, so we are consuming. Will it sufficiently fill your stomach? And the same water is available in the pipe or in the well. Why you cannot take 1 bucket and then drink? Why you have to be in the queue? Answer is not known. When you analyze the water which is taken from the well, that molecular structure of the water, when you zoom for 20,000 times, you can see that it have got a dusty shape. It does not have a good shape. And this water you cannot even use in the battery for charging a battery. You use, what is that water you use? Distilled water use. Why do you use distilled water? Because it has got a pentagon shape. The same water, when it becomes a distilled water, it has got a shape. The shape shows that the water has got an energy. When that water has got an energy, it can energize the battery. So earlier I was mentioning, why do people drink water? to get energized. It is not the joke which doctor says. You have to energize your body by taking water. And assume that you take water which is not having a molecular shape, which is not that pure, which does not have a energy by itself, then your body cannot be energized. So tomorrow onwards, everybody has to take water. Distilled water. Don't do that. Okay? For this, there are solutions available. Energized water, clustered water is being sold in many parts of the world, for which 50 milliliter may cost you $350. And what is to be done? Take a little bit of clustered water, pour inside your 1 glass of water, and then drink. Then your blood gets purified. There are experiments conducted on that. Now, the best possible water available may be available in Himalayas, which has got a very good shape, like a jasmine flower, that petal shape. Now, you take this water which comes out of the sanctum sanctorum after the puja. You can see the shape of the water, molecular shape, is almost close to the perfect water. The water, when goes inside, does not have a good shape, but when it comes outside, it gets a shape. What is this magic? The water gets energized inside the sanctum sanctorum. And how does it get energized? Because the priest chants some slokas, and the sloka will be giving an energy, vibration to the water. And what he does, he takes some flowers and then say that the energy which contains inside this, the prana of this flower, gets transferred onto the bimba, and this bimba, after that, pour water on that, and that whatever energy is available on the shila and all the bimba which comes out of this, and the water collects all the energy, and the water becomes energized. And this has been analyzed in labs, and it found that the water is not the water which goes inside, and the water comes out have got a good molecular structure. And that if you consume, you will get the blood purified. So what is the reason for taking tirtha in the temple? Not for getting moksha, but for blood purification. And you get free of costs. You don't have to pay for that. And I don't think nowhere in the world other than India, medicines like this are given free of costs. Long back, a health conscious concept. And now what is to be done? You cannot go to Indian temples for consuming this. Therefore, your blood becomes impaired now, but you can make it inside your house. What is to be done? Keep a little bit of water in a copper vessel, because copper is very good for a defungal, debacterial vessel. That is the best one. You can experiment it by keeping water in different vessels and see that after 3 days or 4 days what happens to the water. You can do this experiment at home. I am not explaining. Now keep this water and talk to the water. How you should talk? Say that this water have to get energized, and it will start getting energized. You put some tulasi inside, some good sattvic flowers inside. Don't put moshanda and all that. Don't put mozanda, anthurium and all that you don't put. Put all the prescribed flowers which can be used for puja, and then automatically the water gets energized. If you know chanting, chant that also. And what is to be chanted? What is this person who goes inside, close the door and then chants? Most of the time in the Kerala style, they close the door and then only chant, because you should not listen what he chants. And what is he chanting? Ekacha me, trishascha me, panchacha me, saptacha me, etc. etc. What does it mean? Ekacha me, ekam means 1, trishascha me 3, panchacha me 5. He is talking mathematics to God. And that is arithmetic progression he chants inside. 1, 3, 5. You are in worry, you have a big problem at home, and somehow you have to see that you have to get out of this problem, and you give some receipt, one slip is given, and you tell that my name is Shashikumar, my star is Puram, and if you know Gotram, you don't know Gotram also. If you assume that you know Gotram, give that, he goes inside, and then what he says? He says that this fellow who came and standing here belongs to the whole Brahmanda, and that Brahmanda, he belongs to the small globe, that is Earth. We are thinking we are the greatest of the greatest fellow in the world, and by paying some money, doing a puja specially for me, I think I am the greatest person. And he goes inside God and he says that there is a big Brahmanda, Mr. God, and inside that there is a small globe, that is Bharat, that is the Earth, and in that there is a small continent called Asia, and in that there is a small place called India, and in that small tail is there, that is Kerala, and in that belong to the most dangerous place is Kannur. And in that there is a village called, and there is a taluk called Taliparamba, in which there is a dirty place called Naduvil, in which this man belongs to, Amsham Desham, and this place he belongs to, and so family. There are hundreds and thousands of families who lived in that house, and it's not one family, thousands of families lived in that house, and in that house, during this span of time, as the son of so and so with this star and this one person called Shashikumar is there, and this man wanted to give you some bribe, tells that he has to get his problem solved, and after telling that he says this man is giving this to you. What is that it means? Our slokas means that you think that you are great, but all telling that you are a small person in this. You are a small person in this. Don't think that you are the greatest fellow. Everybody thinks that I am the person who revolves. No, the whole globe is on my finger like this. That is how everybody thinks. What a person knows who stands not even a single, it's not even a dust on the whole globe. And that dust thinks that I am the greatest fellow. Your ego is being shattered down in front of the God. And that is what is being done. And if you don't even realize by doing that, and then if you write giving something to the God, people you give some lamp and say that below that you will write Shashikumar Vaha. It is being given by me, and you want to get advertised to yourself. And what is that the priest does when you surrender and give something else? Idam namama. This is yours, sir. The God, this is yours. It is not this man's. Once you give it, it does not become yours. So dharma, dana has to be done with that mentality that when you give it to somebody, you have no right on that. And that is what is to be done. I have seen people construct temple and then write their name. There is a joke. We have got Birla. We have got Birla temples now, most of the places. And Birla dies one day, and then he goes, there is an option given either to hell or heaven, and then he has been transferred to hell. Then he says, God, I have constructed a lot of temples for you, but still why you are giving me this? He says, all the temples are named after you. All the temples are called Birla temples, no? You ask what is the deity inside, most of the people doesn't know. Because the name itself, he himself wanted to become a god. No, that is how. I'm just joking. He is a good person, Birla by himself. And this is what we are trying to do. We are always show that we are great, even God is below us. And that sort of a mentality, if you have, whatever you do, whatever satkarma you do, you cannot reach to that level. Your eyes does not get opened. Assume that the God does not like geometric progression. What he chants? Eka. The first one was Eka Chame, Trishashchame, Panchachame, all geometric progressions, arithmetic progressions. If it does not like arithmetic progression, you have got geometric progression. Ekam cha, dasham cha, dasham cha, shatam cha, shatam cha, sahasram cha, yudam cha, prayudam cha, niyujam cha, like that it goes up to 10 power 57. And this was available with us as a Veda text when the other part of the world doesn't know even counting 0 and 1. You can imagine the knowledge which we had in our land, the part of this world, when other part of the land even doesn't know how to count and how to do things. We have got the Mahasankalpa which explains everything, which also says that your whole Brahmanda looks so as your each parameter on your body, each molecule looks so. If I have to explain somebody how does an atom look like, I have to tell you that zoom your hand 20,000 times and then you can see, and you cannot explain this to a layman. You can just tell him, go out, look at the sky, you can see the stars, and that is how your molecules are, the atoms are. Because there is a nucleus around which the electrons start revolving around, and there is a sun around which the planets revolve around, and it looks almost like that, 99.9999% vacuum, darkness, bluish darkness, almost bluish, and that is how the atom also looks like. That's why we say that yada brahmande tada pinde. As the brahmanda is, the molecule is also, or as the brahmanda is, your cell also, as the brahmanda is, your atoms also. There is no difference. Now let us see that how these planets revolve around this, and who asks these planets to revolve around like this in 365 days, 500 days, 10 into 365 days for some other planet, and all these were also known to our astrologers long back, because the period was not the orbit was known, the color of the planet was known, the Mars was described as it has got the copper color, and today also it has got the copper color. After which was told long back, thousands and thousands of years back, the color was identified. Today also scientists are telling the same thing only. How is it possible? And how this information was available? And there is an energy which says that, which takes it around, and it says that as that energy, every particle on your body also moves in the same fashion. Electrons are revolving like that, and that energy and this energy remains same, and that is the Brahma energy which you have, and inside you also there is a Brahma energy. Realize that energy, and then you will become the greatest person. And realization of that energy happens only when you get into the Atmiyata, and that is what is spirituality. And to realize that this spirituality makes me to realize my own self, and that becomes Ahangara, and Ahangara has to be within you. And we misinterpret even Ahangara, telling that if I say that I have got Ahangara, people will think that I am boasting myself, because people translated Ahangara into ego, the Ahamati. And Ahambhavam, that is what is ego. Ahangara is knowing yourself inside. If I am conscious about what I am, then that is the best thing what you have. Most of the people are not conscious what we are. We think that we are something else, but we don't understand what we are really. I am. When I say I am, I think that the body is what I am, but I am not the body, because if I say this is my pencil, in the same fashion I will tell this is my hand and this is my nose. That means I cannot be an outsider. I have to be an outsider, cannot be the part of the body. And a person cannot see if I am the seer. A seer cannot be the seeing person, so I have to be somewhere else. That means the prana, annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, which is explained, have to be I and not this body what you are all seeing. Because I will die, because every particle on my body, every cell on my body does not have a life of more than 7 years. That means after 7 years, you are not seeing me as I am, but still you are seeing me as I am. Just because this is not the cell and this is not this body what you are seeing, this is something more than that. Because you will realize me by hearing my voice, you will realize me by knowing how I am dealing with you, and that is not the body which is responsible for behaving in the fashion. Now you cannot take bath and clean your spirituality. Your body can be cleaned by taking bath. How do you maintain your prana? How do you maintain your mind? How do you maintain your vijnana? How do you clean this, all the other layers other than the first layer, that is Annamaya Kosha. This Annamaya Kosha you can dip in water, take it out, it gets clean. Otherwise put some soap, it can be cleaned. And what is the soap that is to be used for cleaning your mind? It's a big question, cannot be answered. It says, Pranavana Vyanodana Samaname Shuddyantam Jyotiraham Viraja Vipatma Bhuyasanga Swaha Vakmana Chakshu Srotra Grana Jikwaredo Buddhyakriti Sankalpa Me Shuddyantam. These are the chanting process in which you can clean your Pranamaya Kosham, Annamaya Kosham, Pranamaya Kosham, Manonmaya Kosham, Vijnanamaya Kosham, Anandamaya Kosham, Me Shuddyantam. All the kosha can be cleaned by chanting slokas. What it says? Pranavana Vyanodana Samaname Shuddyantam. All the prana which goes inside my body, which comes out of my body, let everything get cleaned. That means when I breathe oxygen, and when I breathe out after keeping the oxygen for some time, I should not have carbon dioxide out. It has to be oxygen only. That means your body has to be clean, so even the oxygen with you breathe out inside will not get converted to carbon dioxide. Can you have a position like that? Can you have a stage like that when your body does not have any dirtiness inside, no toxins inside? It is possible. You live a life of Sattvic Dharma with all the prescriptions what India prescribes, when you will have a perfect body. And a perfect body is the first thing what is required for the next Manasa, Vijnana, everything to become better. And how do you clean that mind? You have to clean by telling that your eye has to be get cleaned, your ear has to be get cleaned. That means whatever you hear, whatever you see, whatever you smell, whatever you taste, whatever you touch, whatever you think. And my sankalpa me shuddhyandam. Vak, mana, chakshu, srotra, grana, jihvaredo, buddhyakriti, sankalpa me shuddhyandam. You can imagine what is the way people thought about, no? You think, and that thinking process have to be good. Your thought process have to be cleaned. Your sankalpa have to be cleaned. Only such people can become really clean. And if you don't clean that, and if you are not such a person who can clean your sankalpa, mind, vijnana and anandamaya kosha, you become so gloomy. You are too egoistic. You don't even smile to people. And then your mind is so cruel. You cannot think what you want. Somebody else decides what you have to think. In such a situation, when you are in prison of mind, you will not be able to do a job better. And that is the reason it was said that a pujari has to be a brahmachari. And most of the people mistake brahmacharyam as only non-married state. It is not. Brahmacharya means you should not have extra interest in anything in the world. Either it is materialistic. If you want to eat more, then you are not a brahmachari. If you want to see more cinema, you are not a brahmachari. If you are interested in wearing good clothes every time and without that you get upset, then you are not a brahmachari. If you are too much into bhakti, then you are also not a brahmachari. Because that itself becomes a craze. We have seen somebody, whenever somebody chants Lalita Sahasranamam, you take Arati in front of you, does something and start shivering, you fell down. And it shows, no? You are too much into spirituality. You are great, and people will say that it's a very big bhakta of so and so forth, and people will start admiring her, and she becomes or he becomes another guru tomorrow, and then you can give mantra, you can give tantra, you can heal people, you can do wonders, then you can collect money. And this is the best way to get popularized. When you have got some puja is being done, either you are called or not, just go and attend, start doing this drama, then after 10 years you can become a guru, only you have to wear some specific clothes. Then you become really great. You put some mala here, one japa mala somewhere else, keep always doing this and pretend that you are like this. Always I am like this only. One party came last week. It happened on the stage. There was a puja happening, this drama happened. Night when I am having my colleague who witnessed this whole drama with me here from Muscat. I'm not joking, you can check up with him privately what happened. It was a big joke. And the husband and the wife is the person, the lady acted like this. The husband, wife and 2 kids comes, and the husband describes her. She is great because she gets darshan of the God, and the God comes within her, and she start doing all this, and the people are around. She does lot of healing. Many people comes and she blesses. They get cured. So and so forth. I called that lady, asked the daughters to go out of my room, and I asked, when your daughter, she has got 2 daughters, when your daughter becomes much more elder, a marriage proposal will come, and somebody will start telling, I don't want to marry this lady, so you will not have a good husband for your daughter. Please don't act like this, I said. And I called, and he says, for last 3 years or 2 years or 1 year, I am a brahmachari. And I called her husband and said, you are a useless fellow. You are a useless fellow. What a husband you are, and what a wife you have got. Your karma, important karma for every husband and wife, father, mother, kid is to look after their family at the first instance. And garhasthyam is the best karma which everybody has to take. Take care of the family first, that is important. Your bhajan comes separate later. Assume that the husband is not being permitted to attend a puja. Don't go for puja, sit inside your house. When you are sitting at office, you start praying. Assume that there is a contradiction between 2 people, and you have to surrender yourself and say that yes, the family is important. If the family bondage is not there, as Girish ji of Tantra Vidya says that the whole society depends on family. None of you will, I know that none of you will earn money, none of you will work, none of you will construct a house, none of you will have the money, none of you will have bank balances if you are not considering your family as the prime important thing. We are all working because we have got a family at the back. And the whole society lives on the family. And if you forget this and say that I am brahmachari, I am good, it would have been better you don't marry and have kids. Probably only your father will throw you out of the house, and or the mother will throw you out of the house, and you can do whatever you want. When you are married, when you have got kids, your prime responsibility is to look at your family. And the next day, I gave this lesson to her and then said, you are useless to the and the other lady also I said, I can just test you. I gave some Reiki energy, Pranic energy, or healing energy. I don't have to call by name because it's all one and the same. It's being called by different streams, as God is being called by different names. Ultimately, it is only one. It's like, the sea, which have got the waves, and each wave, when it comes to the shore, will have a different pattern, different height, different size, different speed. But the water which makes this is one and the same. Like the God's stature comes in different fashion, different styles, and different times to all of us. But the basic is the God's concept, that is the water. Similarly, I told her, gave some energy. I asked her, you just try whether you can take my energy. And then I gave some energy. She started becoming tired, and she started becoming tired. And I told her, you cannot pour water when the burden itself is too light. You take some little bit of a burden which is made up of a plastic which is not very heavy. You start pouring water inside that heavily. What will happen? The burden will start rolling and the whole water will go. You take a burden which is very, very hard, like a steel or maybe a copper one, which is having a good weight. Then you pour water. What will happen? It will not fall. It will fill itself and then starts flowing out. You can sit inside a puja only when you can consume the whole energy being generated inside that room. Assume that you cannot, then you will not be able to close your eyes for a long time. Assume that you close your eyes for a long time, you will start seeing many things around. Assume that that stage also goes over, you will start getting the hangover. Also some people will start shivering, and you are not qualified for accepting the energy of the God. Therefore my prescription to you is, don't attend any of the pujas. Assume that you attend also. Open your eyes after 5 minutes and then rub your eyes and say that I am not going to fully concentrate onto that, because you can only hold a little bit and you are not matured enough to get. And next day again there was a puja. She was perfect. Her husband was very, very happy after maybe 3 years. Wife was also very happy. Kids were very happy, and they are very happy today. So most of the people needs a slapping when it has to be slapped. You cannot just take things for granted. There are a lot of bogus people who comes around, tells that they are this, they are that, they can give you energy. I have got a big key with me in which I can open your spirituality and give spirit inside that. And they also becomes only spirit but not spirituality. It is not possible for somebody else to fill spirit in you and it does not stay for a long time. You just take it from me. And we are all taking breathing exercise. We are all meditating knowingly or unknowingly. The Jiddu Krishnamurti says that the time you sit for meditation, your meditation does not happen. Girish Ji was making me to remember this. You cannot, the time you think of something which is not that what you wanted to think, and what you will see is what you don't want to think. This is the status. And you cannot understand what I am telling, assume that you don't want to understand what I am trying to say. The perceiver understand the way the perceiver like to perceive, and not the way the speaker wants the perceiver to perceive. It's very, very difficult. Everybody have got their own structure, their own way of thinking, their own constitution, their own consciousness, their own mind, and somebody cannot just push things on somebody and say that you are doing this, you are seeing. I have seen meditation sessions in which thousands of people sit like that. I just take one flute and then make a sound and tell you that 5 minutes you all have to meditate. And you are all meditating for 5 minutes, please close your eyes, and exactly after 5 minutes, either this master calls or not, everybody gets up. How do you see your watch during meditation? Meditation is some process in which you will forget everything in the world. And you call this as meditation? There are people who comes to me, I have learned 10 types of meditation, I want to learn 11. I asked him, do you do a PhD on meditation or what? You want to do a thesis on all the meditation practices? Do you really meditate? No, I tried all the 9-10 types, but no, none of them is working with me. I told him, you get your horoscope. I saw that his Rahu is on the head, And the Madam Rashi, such people cannot sit even for 1 minute crossing his leg. If he starts sitting, his mind will go somewhere else. He may be sitting here, but his mind may be somewhere else. I told in the best ways, we have got a Monda market in Hyderabad, which is the busiest street. I told him, you take the scooter in the morning, goes for a drive, then you will concentrate only on driving. That is the only way to divert your attention from something else. And that is the best thing what you can do. Do it only when your wife starts scolding you, then you become really peaceful. There is no way. And people will tell that I can give you mantra which can solve all your problems. I have not heard any mantra where you can solve your problems. It can only give you a courage within. Your enlargement of the aura can happen. Your life force energy can be increased. Your mind becomes purer. Your prana becomes better. You will become more knowledgeable. You will become more happier. Only way, by this, all the things what you have inside you becomes better and better. Then you can think better, you can do well in your business, you can do well in your family, you can do well in your studies, and you can succeed in your life. Not just by getting some mantra somebody and just by paying some money for, there are sites available now. You pay 10,000 rupees, by courier you will get mantra. It's very easy to get mantra. The mantra have to be given by a guru analyzing the shishya for more than 4 years and knowing that what mantra have to be given, what way they have to chant, and whether the shishya is efficient for accepting it, whether the shishya also should get convinced that the guru have got the capability, then only that has to be given. It cannot be sold. And that is what our prescription says. And what is being done? Whenever you have a fever, go to the market and then see that what is the capsule you have available, whether it's a Crocin, Calpol, paracetamol, whatever is available, take that and then consume. If you don't have, take some other medicine which is analgin, that also you think that will solve your the problem of fever. You have to give medicine for which you are having the problem, and it has to be seen by person to person. Do you have somebody who can do that? If you don't have, telling that all these you will hear, and afterward who is the next person seen, you go with a horoscope and tell that you see my horoscope, and you go to some other guru and take something, go to some other yantra, get that. We don't have even faith to some people. We go to even God, we don't have faith. You go to one God, tell your problems, you are not guaranteed that you will get solution. You go to another God, tell him all your problems, go to another God. During vacation you have only time to go to every temple in Kerala or maybe every temple in India. Go to Kashi, go to Rameshwaram, everywhere, and you will waste your time. You can go to God only when, and you have to go to God not with your problems and for solutions. You see God, close your eyes, get your all the Manoanmaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha filled, and automatically you don't have to ask. You go and then open your palms like this, beg for the energy, and then it gets filled up, and then you become really spiritually better. And that can be only got the people who have got that capability to accept it. There is enough light here, but if I am blind, I cannot see this light. Similarly, the spirituality is the power which you have within you is like an eye. It gets opened only when you can accept it. When you open it, your third eye and the fourth eye and the fifth eye and the sixth eye, everything gets opened up, and you will see that the power comes to you. You can see people goes to Shabarimala, goes to Guruvayur temple, who goes to Tirupati and big temples. You ask them how was the darshan? What a rush it was. A heavy rush. You ask them, why did you go to temple to see the rush? You could go to a market. Why do you take all the pain to go to the temple to see the rush? You ask somebody else who is a real bhakta, you say Yanda Prabha. What a beautiful scene you have. And the power which you get, it's fantastic. You ask them, did you really see the statue? No. Because once you go in front of the God, you close your eyes. You are going to see the God, and when you are in front of the God, automatically the eye gets closed. And what is that you are seeing? Actually you are not seeing anything. You go to the Rush temple in most of the places, there will be a lot of sound around. You ask them what was the sound, you will not remember. You ask them what was the smell, you will not remember. You ask them who was staying close by and touching you, you will not remember. Only you remember there was some power which have poured in you, which have made you really powerful and made you really happy, and that has given you some sort of a feeling which is unexplainable, which cannot be explained, because one person will have one feeling, another person will have another feeling. You will see one color, another person will say some other color when you close your eyes. Recently somebody came, I asked him, close your eyes, what color you are seeing? Then they gave some color, and I asked him, who asked you to tell this color is good? Because some of the Reiki experts told that if you close your eyes and you see this color, you are spiritually high. And therefore the next day onwards, you close your eye and think that I am seeing this color. If I am not seeing, go on. Why I am not seeing? Try for some time, and then you will see. You are forcing yourself to be spiritual and becoming not matured. Being spiritual is like being crazy. And you are becoming foolish by yourself by doing so, and need not everybody should get that. And at a time when it is really required, assume that you can meditate. The best way for meditation is get into prayers and sit for some time, chant whatever sloka and mantra, whatever japa you want. Automatically the meditation will come to you. Some people believe that I have to only go to the Vishnu part and all the other gods are useless. Some people believe that only Shiva is the greatest and the rest of the people are useless. And there are people like that who will fight each other. I have got a husband and wife who says that one is in one path, only Vishnu, other person says only Shiva, because the husband does not like this lady becoming more Vaishnavite, because that shows that he is close to Krishna, and Krishna had many wives, and what will happen? And the other fellow thinks that Shiva is the greatest. This mistake even our Shankara had. The Adi Shankara, who believed that there was only one God and only Shiva and nobody else. And he was praying and writing prayers only for Shiva. And when he became slightly elder, I think at 32 or so, he had to drink a little bit of water. He poured the water, somebody poured the water and given a glass of water. He just wanted to lift that. He was not able to lift. He said, where is my Shakti? Shakti means energy. Where is my energy? I am not able to lift. And that time the Shakti appears in front of him, because Shakti is Shiva's wife. Mrs. Shiva comes. And Mrs. Shiva is Shakti, and that is the Valli. We say that it is the Valli, because when you write Shiva, the Valli is not there, Shiva becomes Shava. Okay, the Shiva is required, the Valli is required, and the power is required for Shiva. Without the Shakti, Shiva cannot exist. And when the Shakti comes in front of, and the ladies have got more of ego, if you don't care them, they will start becoming annoyed. And she said, why you did not care me so far? Only you were looking at my husband, why you did not look at me? And Shankara says, sorry, I was very sorry. And then he starts describing Devi, and he says that Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Naja Devam Devo Nakalu Kushalas Panditamapi. How beautiful is that? He says that Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Naja Devam Devo Nakalu Kushalas Panditamapi. Even Lord Shiva's heart cannot be beating if I am not there, or if the Shakti is not there. That is the Shakti which every one of us require. And to attain that Shakti, you should realize that Shakti is there everywhere. If you believe that that is only available in temple, that's only available in photographs, that's only available in Agni, that's only available from the sun, you are going to be useless. Agnir Devo Dijadinam Muninam Kruti Devatam Vigraham Sulpa Buddhinam Sarvatra Vididatmanam. Again says in Uttara Gita, Lord Krishna to Arjuna, he says that, what does he say? Agnir Devo Dijadinam. The Brahmins who does puja, whether whoever does puja, he becomes a Brahmin. Not that Brahmin does puja. A Brahmin, if he does a business, he becomes a Vaishya. A Brahmin, by default, because of crossbelt, he has taken birth in a family, doesn't mean he is Brahmin. He does puja for the fire. That means if he does yatna, he becomes a Brahmin. I do every day Agnihotra yatna, and I don't have a crossbelt. I have not taken birth in that family. But since I am doing that, by definition of Lord Krishna, I belong to that family. And once you do that yatna, and you say that you are giving your rice and then ghee for the sun, for thanksgiving for whatever he has given me so far, then you become a Dana Dharmishta and surrender your rice and ghee to him and say that Suryaya Swaha, Suryaya Idam Namama, Prajapataye Swaha, Prajapataye Idam Nama. If you do an Agnihotra like this, and then you become a Brahmin. He says that whoever adores, whoever have got faith in Agni, he becomes a Brahmin. And whoever looks for something, for power, energy, fame, and he becomes a Kshatriya. Similarly, he categorizes, and such a Kshatriya is not fit to do this puja also. Agnir Devo Dijadina Muninam Hrudi Devadam. A Maharshi will think about the God and he thinks that it is within him, and such a person may not go to temple, he does not do yatna, he will be just sitting like this and then praying all the time, and the God is within him in his heart. And Agnir Devo Dijadina Muninam Hrudi Devadam Vigraham Sulpa Buddhina. Whoever looks at the statue, photograph, and thinks that the God is there, you are all Sulpa Buddhis. You are not matured enough. And that is very, very essential, because when we talk to the small student, you will tell that this is cat, this is rat, this is bat, this is snake. But when they grow, they realize that this is not really cat, but the cat is somewhere else. This is only the picture. And that LKG, UKG business is required, because you cannot learn that without learning from the textbook. And when you keep your God, fathers or forefathers picture, and when some guest comes to your house, you will tell, this is my father. Is it your father? It is only your father's photograph. So that is required. When you say that this is God's picture, don't tell that it is God's picture, you say that that is God. When you see God inside that, automatically the God comes and inside that, sits inside that. If you don't say so, and just say that this is God, the God will be within. The time you say that this is God's picture, God will go out. So you should see God within that. And where you have to see? Only there. If you see and you don't see God here, then I become only Sulpa Viddhi. And he says, Sarvatra Vidhidatmanam. In each and every particle around this world, you start seeing God, then you become the best person, you become the most intelligent fellow. Is it really true? California University professors wanted to experiment whether this is really true, that every particle on the globe, we have got a system which says Thunilum, Tumbilum, Karimbilum, Turimbilum, Elladum. Everywhere you have got God. Is it really true? Was asked by the California University professors. They took 3 chartered flights from Andhra Pradesh because they chant nicely. And then they were taken, all the Brahmins were taken, all the pujaris were taken, asked them to do puja in the California University campus. Before doing chanting, they took the picture, brilliant photography of every particle in the campus. And after that they repeated the same. They found that there is a large energy difference on each of this particle. That means doing chanting mantra, you can energize everything on the globe. Not just the human being. You can also energize the photo. You can also energize the lamp. You can also energize the glass. Anything can be energized. So these have been experimented. You can also tell that come energy, let it be here, go, this energy will go, and this you can talk to electromagnetic energy when you spiritually grow to that level. But you should have full faith. If you don't have full faith, whatever you do becomes useless. And the faith cannot be imposed, it has to come from inside. And that will come when it really happens to come and when you are matured for that. There is a good story which says, generally we have got the Saptaham in which the Lord Krishna is being described fully well in one of the class, and one of the priests who generally does all this business of pujas, and he is a very good priest, he started chanting the sloka which describes Krishna from padam to the head to the ground, and how to the ground, leg to the head, everything was explained, where the belly is there, what is the ornament used, what is the kiridam he has got, what is the kolusi he has got, everything was explained, and everything full of gold and jewels, and very, very beautifully explained. And after the end he completes the story, goes out, and one thief goes behind him and asks, where is this man living? Give his address. Because you are explaining so well, it looks like you have seen him yesterday, and you tell me what is his address. And this man says that it's only a story, he does not exist in this globe, he does not have anything with him, and I was just explaining some textbook as it is, which is written, and this is my job, that is why I am eating. Therefore you don't believe this, but the thief is a foolish thief, and he believes whatever he hears, and he thought that this man is joking, this man does not want me to get into that house, he is not giving addresses, he takes his knife out and says that I am going to kill you, get me the address. And he gives all the addresses, plot number is given, street number is given, full address is given, Dr. Krishnan, so and so place. This man goes, When he goes and then stand in front, he see a big wall around, and he understands that this man must be very rich. Otherwise, why that big wall has to be constructed? And the door is closed. Definitely there must be somebody. He just goes inside, jumps outside, inside, and then he see another compound wall that's also closed. So the second security, there must be something inside. He again somehow breaks that, get into that, another house inside, because temples are like that. So we go, ultimately he gets into the sanctum sanctorum. Lord Krishna was standing there with full ornaments as it is, and then the thief asked, remove all, other I am going to kill you. And the Lord Krishna removes every ornament which he has got. He has given everything. The thief tied it in a rope. He came back, and he is having a good character. Whoever gives him address, 30% goes to that person who gives address. That is the condition he fixes. He goes back to the priest and says that, you take, this is your share. The priest becomes so unhappy. He says that I was doing this puja job for a long time. All these years, Lord Krishna has not given me the darshan. And I was describing him so well, but I could not have the darshan. And this thief, being so cruel, and is only a thief, he doesn't know who Lord Krishna is, and he got the darshan. What is the lesson behind this? When you get knowledge, you lose faith. And when you become more knowledgeable, you think that this does not exist, and you lose faith. And you are doing ultimately all this for feeding your family. And when you do it as just, that word ritual itself has become just like that, no? You do something which is, when you are going to office, I am attending the office as a ritual. That means it is just like that I am doing. I am not totally into that. If you are not totally into that, whatever you do is useless. Either it is a work or it is a puja. And if you are not totally into that, you cannot attain the spirituality. You cannot attain that. When you are thinking something, you are giving energy, you are doing mantra, you are doing puja, maybe you are chanting something like ekamcha, dashamcha, dashamcha, satamcha, satamcha, sahasramcha, sahasramcha, ayudamcha, etc., etc. You are chanting, but you are only thinking that yesterday I could get only 230 rupees. And my electricity bill is 340 rupees, 120 rupees is balance. I don't know how many people are standing outside, how much money I will get if I go back without money. My wife will be starting going. All that if you think, go on, thinking like this. Whatever puja you do, your mind is not clean, and you are just doing a ritual for namesake, and you cannot get the benefit. The person who comes to you cannot get the benefit. You becomes useless, and the whole time becomes wasted. It is not. Most of our problems, and we are all just like that. No, we are generally very, very highly negative. We think something, do something else, whatever you get, you are not happy, and you are materialistically at the highest level, and then you are not going to be a brahmacharya, and you cannot have a brahmachari, and you will not become a brahmachari. You become only a materialistically oriented person. For such people, spirituality is not touchable, and you cannot reach there. I had a person who was a Brahmin by birth, who calls me one fine morning and tells me that you have to come to my house. I asked him, what is your problem? No, you come to my house, I will tell you. When I went to his house, there are 30-40 people who gathered, and he says that a person who has come, he generally gives discourses on these spiritual things and all. He's a scientist, and he has come to my bed, and thank you, you go back. Because you want to show that he entertains such people, and by which he can call some 20 people and become slightly enlightened. Many Swamijis are being called in many places by bribing 1 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees just for putting their leg inside the house, and this man gets a benefit. I asked him, what is your real problem? He says, earlier when I used to go into the street, people used to salute to me, now they are not saluting me. He's so much worried, no, there is no problem for him. He is very rich, he has got good position, kids are well off. Now you don't have any problem, you start thinking of something else which can give you some problem, and if you cannot, start creating your own problems. People are like that. We are very, very, very bad in this. You get somebody gives me a good flower, inviting somewhere, somebody just gives me a flower, I will look at the flower and start thinking about the flower. Instead of enjoying that, I will start thinking and telling that this Muscat Dubai flowers are not very good. The flowers in Kerala is very wonderful. And I will start thinking the Kerala flowers were beautiful, now the Jammu Kashmir flowers are very good. Jammu Kashmir is not really very good now because the Pakistanis have created problem there, and Pakistanis are our brothers and sisters very close to us. Actually it is not Pakistan who has created problem, somebody else started intervening, and it is not somebody's problem. The other country started intervening, and there was a big fight, started going back and back, compartment to compartment. You will add problems to problems. Actually it is only small flower. Ultimately, you have connected this and then went from here to somewhere else, and you are not able to enjoy the flow. Every time you start eating, you start thinking about chapati, then start describing about the wheat, and then goes back and says that earlier the chapati was very good, but now the chapati. What can you do? You cannot do anything. Can you change this? You cannot. Once you are inside this, you cannot. Why can't you enjoy your life? You cannot just think and then tell that that is very great, this is very great. How much time we are wasting like this? Enjoy your life. That is the first lesson. Enjoy your family. You cannot go on changing families. So enjoy your family, enjoy your kids. You have hardly less time for living. 60 years, sleeping 20 years. So less than 40 years only you have. You are for living for 40 years, you are working for another 10 years. So you have only 30 years. For working for 10 years, you are traveling more than 10 years. So you have only 20 years again balance. After that 10 years only you have got. For this education purpose, you must have spent some 3-4 years together. Reduce that, you have got 7 years with you. In 7 years, you have to give some time to your parents, kids and wife. Divide them together. Hardly you have 2 months for each of them. Why not spend that time when you are with your kids, family, wife, husband? Most memorable, make the most memorable, because you doesn't know when you just sleep today whether you will get back tomorrow or not. You doesn't know whether your wife will get back tomorrow or not. You may be today traveling by the best possible vehicle with all the air condition, but when you die, there is only one vehicle will come to you, and that only will tie you up and then take you back to the either Naraka or Surga. And you see that we have got symbolism in Hinduism, a nice class which I gives for many people. Somebody asked me a question, why the Kalan comes in only in that animal? Why not a good horse? Why not on peacock? Why only on this? I used to tell, you look at that animal which is representing our Kalan. It just walks on the middle of the road. All the time. Have you seen? It walks only at the middle of the road. Any dog or cat or human being, when it crosses, if some vehicle is coming, it goes faster. Only this fellow walks very slowly. And when your vehicle comes, you sort on or give siren, it will just looks at you like this. Continue goes on its own way. It says that when your mrityu have to happen, no horn will work. You cannot make it to stop. It decides, it comes on to you and it will catch you. It is not in your hands. We have got good examples on Hindu symbolism. Fantastic examples. Very, very fantastic examples. Each one of the god represents how lessons can be given to people. Because Ganesha is here, I will take him as the example. You just look at, go to the temple, you have to pray, you have to do like this, you do namaskara and everything. Only to one god the prescription is given. You have to hold your left ear with the right eye and right ear with the left eye, cross your legs and then make this elbow to touch onto the ground. Do this exercise 108 times. And when this exercise is being given, in the early morning, before meeting any of the god, first this have to be given. Because Ganesha's statue and the temple, the Upapradishta is the first in most of the temples. And why you should do this? The Ganesha says that if you don't do this exercise, you will look like me with a big belly and you will not become physically fit. All our gods except Ganesha is physically well built. They have got a good shoulder and they are very good. They know how to dance. They can do anything. But only Lord Ganesha is slightly different. The reason why you are prescribed to do this, it reminds you that if you don't take good exercise, you are going to have trouble. So each of these, there are many, many examples. I can describe hundreds of them. There can be another session on this. But I know that I was not being called here because I know these things, but I am being called here just because of these 2 roads. This is my strength. And this is where people knows me, and this is the only reason I was being called at different places. So if I don't show this, that becomes an incomplete lecture. Therefore, I will start demonstrating this for 2 minutes. I have crossed the time, 1 minute past the time prescribed for me. I was asked to talk at 10, up to 10:30, from 7:30. It has started at 8 o'clock, not because of my mistake. I was the first person who entered this hall, and it was earlier than 6:30. And now, if I just hold this rod like this, it automatically comes back. It's not magic. I'm not doing anything. I'm not come here to sell these rods also. Don't think that I'm an agent of this. Because most of the time I gave a lecture on musket pharmacy. Soon after the lecture, one of the senior most person, what is the product which you are going to sell here? He asked. Then only I realized people from India comes out only to sell some products. I said my idea is to give some informations to you. By mistake, it happened to be this part of the land where people generally come for selling products. And they started asking when you are going to start your ashram in this part of the world again. Very, very difficult. Now you just hold this like this, it automatically comes back. I'm not doing anything. I only hold it parallel to the ground and not to fall down. I'm using my little finger like this, stopping it parallelly and hold it together. It goes back. This rod is called as dowsing rod, where you can measure the energy. And UAE part I have seen, I've got a lot of mails after my first show on the TV. Some people sent me a mail telling that, sir, we are using this for identifying oil below the ground. We are identifying for using water below the ground, etc., etc. So this is the same rod which is used, which is called the dowsing rod, and this goes like this. Automatically it can go. Okay, it can just go like this. Automatically it goes. Now this goes in two direct. The separate goes it like this. That is because the electromagnetic energy around this place is very good. That is because all of you are here. Okay, and this energy is very good. If this energy is not very good, not that harmonized, then automatically there will be a contradiction. The road will start crossing like this. Okay, that is what we will say, that this energy which is not good for us, we will call it as negative. If it is good for us, we will call it as positive. It's only a name called, but nothing to do with the diapositive and negative, nothing to do with the phase and neutral, etc., etc. And if you just keep one, for example, if I keep a battery here, which have got a different energy than this harmonized energy, probably I can take the cell phone, which is very common. If somebody has got a cell phone, you can come and stand here, please. That is the punishment which he gets for carrying negative energy around him. And then when you just hold this like this, if I just keep this, it automatically crosses. If I just take it slightly higher, it goes back. And if I take it closely, it just crosses. This shows that there is an electromagnetic energy around this. And that energy, when you keep it close to your ear, your Anandamaya Kosham, Vijnanamaya Kosham, Manonmaya Kosham, prana gets screwed up and you will have brain cancer. Okay, you can have this because most of the company which manufactures this cell phone is doing research on identifying mechanism cell phone which can stop generating such electromagnetic energy, and no solution could get. They have identified a harmonizer and a shield which can be used for this, and the shield I have got few of them. The first come first served basis, and it cost, I have to price it according to the demand which I have. And this was what was taught to me by a lady who came from US with this rod and experimented and shown like this. Because we are all poor government servants, she could not sell much, she left back. And all the people who got this rod thrown that it is not useful. But I started looking at this and did research for 3 years, and I identified some other techniques which have to be taught back into the other part of the world, telling that this can be just stopped by using some God's picture which. And if I just keep some God's picture on the top of it, most of us, we keep some God's picture on the top of it. If you just keep this God's picture on the top of it, if I start measuring back, what happens? It just comes back. It does not cross. If I just remove this photograph and then just again try, it just crosses automatically. I am not doing any magic. And that is the reason we say that this photograph have got a capability of changing this negative energy into positive energy. And you don't have to do that. Get a coin, no? Some coin. Yeah. Because we believe that the money is the most powerful one, which is the most powerful one. And let us just try that, keep a money, and what happens to that. Assume that I keep a money, some coin onto that, and just start doing it. It just crosses, it does not change. Okay, it does not change the severity of its negativity, approximately the same layer it continues to have. And now just what I am doing is, I am just giving some energy to this by chanting some mantra. And and I just keep this on this top, and if I just try to hold it higher so that they can see. Now if I just hold this, automatically it comes back. So I'm not doing anything. The energy which has been transferred onto the coin starts working and the energy goes back. So what you can do is, you can transfer energy from chanting mantras, and this is nothing new. You can take the Krillin photography of this before chanting mantra, and after this you can see there is an energy difference in this, and if you keep this today night you will not have bad dreams. Now chanting mantra, you can change energy. There was a national conference on astrology in which I gave a invited talk, in which I saw there was a pearl gems selling counter, in which I just went around, and then this hand is enough, you don't require this. I just touched all this, and I said, I asked the owner and called him and asked, why you are keeping this duplicate gems here? Yeah, I asked him. Then he said, how do you know this is duplicate? Because there is no energy in that, these are all duplicate. Then he takes out one from this pocket, another from this pocket, another from the back pocket, another from this, and say that, can you distinguish which is first quality, second quality, third quality, fourth quality? There are many qualities of gems. All of them I distinguished. I said, how much money you require? Please go away from this place. Because my business will go. See, we are into business. Most of the people are into business, cheating people. You remember the story of the snake? You are the elephant. The lion comes in different fashion. Don't leave your head to such people. Let your leg go. That is better. None of these problems which you have related to Vastu. There are people who says northeast corner you should not have. Say, assume that you have got a house like this. Northeast corner you should not have toilet. You should have only puja room. You believe that after this you have got another plot for which the neighbor's toilet can be at your northeast. The difference is only a 4 feet wall, and this electromagnetic energy which gets generated out of the toilet does not look at the municipality plot number. This plot number is so and so, whether this man has given the tax or not. If he has not given, start going inside. It does not. And the Vastu had got the real basic principle starting from measurement defined by electron size. Atom size is defined in the Vastu textbook of India. The Mayamatam, again Manushyalaya Chandrika, it explains what is the size of an atom to start with, describing the science of construction, Vastu. Now today it has become the science of destruction, because it only knows how to demolish things. And it says that very, very systematically he starts defining using scientific analysis, scientific temper totally, science containing within that. He says, Jalandaragade bhanau yat sushmam drishyate rajaha tasya trimshattamo bhagaha paramanu ritisprataha. He defines what is an atom. You ask a chemist what is an size of an atom. A person who took PhD in chemistry, he will look twice and then he will say, tomorrow I will try to come. If you don't see me, you try to ask somebody else. He will not know the answer. It says, if a light source falls like this, you look at cross-sectionally, you can see small particle moving. You take a bucket of water, take a torchlight, you pour inside, then you can see particles moving. Jalam daragade bhanu yat sushmam drishyate rajaha tasya trimshattamo bhagaha paramanu ritisprataha. Divide that raja into 30 pieces, then you get the size of an atom. And then he starts constructing from that, multiplying by 64, 32, etc., etc. It gets into a coal, moram, etc. And then that is what is used for measurement, and that is how systematically the measurement starts coming out. And he says that if your house happen to be in an area less than 23 to 40, maybe 23, 24 square cents of area, that means more than 2000 square yard area, then only you should worry about Vastu. And you don't have to worry about Vastu when your house is like an apartment. That's also described, because he has seen a day will come where a place like in Dubai, there will be multi-storied building, and in which people will live only in air. You are living in air because the floor is not yours, because it belongs to the ground floor fellow, and the top is not yours because it belongs to the other fellow. This wall is not yours because it belongs to somebody else, and what you have is only the air within you, and there is no Vastu for air. And some people will tell that you have got a bathroom closely attached to the bedroom, and then many people will say that my house is as per Vastu, and who has said? Some Vastu expert has said, then that is Vastu for you. he should read the Smriti first. Smriti says, washing your leg, spitting has to be 20 feet away from your house. That means today you can only wash leg in somebody's house. Where do you go 20 feet? And it says that, and you are putting your toilet, bathroom inside your house. And how can it have got a vastu? It's not valid. The vastu is not valid. And once you have got, and people are more attached to bathrooms today. They're all attached to bathrooms. You cannot have vastu for houses where you are living. Then what is to be done? Am I confusing all of you? Telling that horoscope is useless, vastu is useless, your life is useless? It is not. Get into spirituality, get into that, start praying, you will get blessings directly, you don't require agents. Don't tell that I will give you and I can only give you, pay me, and don't go to God. Always come through me only, through proper channel only. It's only government who works like that. And don't do that. You can always call upon God directly because you are also God. Within you there is a God. And probably you need a training how to call God and how to reach to that level. You need some gurus. Go only for that purposes. And if you don't reach into the right hands of a right guru, then you are going to be misled. Take care of such people. Get into the right people at right point of time, and then you will be taking off. Vastu, there are a lot of people who bogus. I went to one rich fellow. He called me for Vastu. I may be the 100th Vastu expert is being called. Because he calls everybody who comes to the town. He is very rich. Everybody will go, give some suggestions. If you don't give suggestions, if you don't tell that you demolish your house is very good, then he will not believe you. You have to tell some problems. I went there, measured all the area in the ground floor. Then the upstairs has to be measured. The first floor has to be measured. And then I went to the staircase. The stair itself is not there. He had got a very nice antique stair which takes a rolling like this in the cast iron. And some Vastu experts said if you keep, it is like screwing your business. Because it looks like a screw. And he removed it. Then I asked him, how do you use the upstairs? Now we are not using upstairs. If you are very particular to measure that, you take this rope, jump up. Why I am that particular? I said, go ahead. Bye. I don't want to screw you further. It looks so silly. Sometimes it looks so silly, so pathetic when people are into problem, like again creating problems to them because money is them. And you can make anything. A person who is not knowledgeable can be really cheated. And a person who is highly knowledgeable also can be cheated. And the people in the middle are really always getting cheated. And somehow you should get this information, knowledge. And our idea, my idea particularly, I don't have any ism. I does not belong to this party, this group, that group. Nowhere we are trying to spread this message wherever it is possible, whatever fashion we can. I think whenever there are people who can listen to us, whenever some people are ready to open their mind and say that there is something and it is not only me who can change this. Keep a lamp inside your house with the 2 diya like this, 2 deepams like this, 2 wick like this, your whole area around this 30 feet area will become energized. Knowing that there may be some negative elements coming here, probably this lamp must have kept so that you don't think negative. When this lamp is kept, all of us will get that benefit of that rhythm of energy which comes out. You don't have to pay $2,000 as a harmonizer which is being sold for making this area clean. That is the only method which earthtransition.com is marketing. You can keep the harmonizer, keep a music around, 30 feet area will get clean. If you want to clean 1,000, then it costs maybe 20 times than that. And you can keep a lamp, and this lamp will clean your area. And you know how much it's to be kept? Generally it is a good question. Most of the people will ask every time, how many lamp the wick has to be kept. You have to keep 2 wicks, 1 to east, 1 to west. Keep God's picture. Have every day some japa chanting and all that. You can energize your area. More than all these, important thing is be happy all the time. Don't think anything bad about anybody. Try to have a good word, good culture. Try to love your husband. Try to love your wife. Try to love the kids. Try to love your parents and be happy. Everybody around you, the Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, you should have the relation with the neighboring people. Every one of us have got the pure mind within us. But if it has have got some dust got collected, try to remove that. Once you remove that, you all becomes like small pieces of good, attractable metal, and you will always get attracted to the God directly. And you should have that mind which, if assume that you have put ego totally and covered with nice paints, then this magnet cannot attract. So remove the ego part, open up your ego and surrender your ego. And when morning, I think someone's giving me an example, when a seed grows into a plant and it makes all that fruit which it has to have, assume that it is a paddy and the paddy is full ripe, and after ripening it automatically comes down. So a matured person automatically will surrender to God. And if you are not matured and you will think that you are the most strongest, and the time your head will not bow down, and the time your head bows down, it shows how matured you are, how ripe you are, and then you are fit for becoming closer to God. That is the reason most of the temples we have the door, they could have kept a big door, they always keep a smaller one. At least in front of God, you should surrender your ego and bow your head and then get inside that. Do a Sashtanga Pranamam where all the body, mind and your eyes and the manas should surrender to the God. And when you surrender to the God, it is only to the feet of the God you have to surrender, not at the head. That means your feet is more important sometimes. And this part of my body is the Brahmana, where teaching and learning happens. This part of the body is the Kshatriya, where fighting can happen. And this part of the body, we work for the food. Therefore, this is the Vaishya part, leg is the Shudra part. You always surrender to the Shudra part of the God. That means it is not the knowledge what is to be surrendered. It is not for power you have to surrender. It is not for money you have to surrender. It is for happiness you have to surrender. And by birth, if you are whatever you are, ultimately getting knowledge, getting money, getting power, these are not important. Getting happiness is important. If you have to get happiness, you should bow down, surrender yourself. This is the lesson which I have to tell you today. And I was just looking at each one of you, at all your eyes, and I am seeing that none of you except two people who sat here were looking at the watch, and none of you were looking at the watch. And the reason is not because Dr. Shashikumar is talking. I know that it is because I am talking on a topic which is relevant to you and relevant to us, and we belong to the nation where all these informations are available, and I have not given you any new information. I was only collecting few informations from here and there, like a butterfly taking something from somewhere, pouring something else to that, add some masala to that, add some flesh to that, and then giving like this. It is only God's decision which makes me here to come talk to you like this, as every pujari does the puja. However big the pujari may be and however small the pujari may be, we have got another last chanting which says that mantrahinam, kriyahinam, bhaktihinam janardana. Whatever mistake I do in the mantra, whatever mistake I do in the chanting, whatever mistake I do in this, assume that when I am chanting, doing all this, if I have done some mistake, for all that, please forgive me. You are all like God to me, and what I am giving is only little bit of knowledge as my dakshina and my contribution to the God. And if you have accepted it, and by doing so, if I have done some mistake, hurting somebody, pinching somebody, I request your pardon, and please forgive me if I have hurted somebody, because there are many people who lives on this. Please try to find out something which will give service to the nation and in which don't demand any remuneration back. And whatever you give has to be important. Taking does not become important. Don't take anything from anybody. Try to surrender your life for something, because ultimately you will also be kept onto the graveyard on top of the wood, and your son will put firing, and son will stand and ask you what you have given me other than bad names. And you must be proud in telling that I have not given any bad names to you, and I am a sample example standing for a good living which is being given to the next generation. If you do some papa here, we scare people telling that in the next Janma you will have problems for your kids. At least when you have given birth to somebody, we should also make sure that we are not giving any bad things to the next generation, and it is our prime responsibility to learn whatever we know, spread whatever we know, and spread this to the next generation. Indian Institute of Scientific Heritage, where I am also giving some lectures, being part of it, and Dr. Gopalakrishnan, who is the honorary director, who was responsible for me to give a spark for starting this job, and he has got an institute in which lot of materials are being spread, where you can see scientific analysis on most of these rituals, most of the acharas, looking at life slightly differently. I know that the people who are benefited out of it are many thousands and thousands and lakhs in different part of the world. Try to spread this message, and we are with you. As long as you require us, call us back. We will be coming, giving lectures like this, and it is only not expecting any claps, no harem, no memento, nothing is expected. It is only a patient listening, an open mind to analyze, and if something can be given, and that is the biggest thing what we can give. And if you pray for us for some more life like this, maybe the next Janma also, if we can take this message to the whole world, we consider that as the greatest opportunity to give given to a person like me, who is not anything and who have not learned anything in this era, just by reading something, learning from different people, bits and pieces, because with all the official duty, leaving the mother tongue, because I learned most of the things in terms of mother tongue, the other tongue was not very good for me, and then I left nearly 20 years back, when we had no interest in such things, the normal vacations, and sometime when we get back to the hometown, learn something bit from Jesus, get some at least ashirvada from some of the gurus, and that is the only power which we have. And more than that, if the patient listening is not there, I think nothing will flow. Only the river flows from top to bottom when there is something which can take its path. If it does not, and I really enjoyed talking to you, and you had given me a good opportunity, and I have seen this part of the land. Most of the time I attended to schools. Yesterday I had a school. Really, I was thrilled by seeing the spirit of the students. At the end of the class, one girl asked me, "Can you teach me one chanting, one sloka?" And it was really thrilling and so innocent. And I taught 2-3 slokas there, and it was thrilling. And I've got one book which talks about most of the slokas, which can be chanted from morning till evening. When you go to God for Shuddhi, and including the Sapta Shuddhi, Pranavana, Vyanodana, it has been put onto a small book. In English I have written, because I have seen most of the younger generation neither read Sanskrit or the mother tongue, they only read the other tongue. And for that purpose, I thought I have to put in English, and that has been put. I told them, you just send me a mail, I will send the book to you, and I have not come again for selling this book. I am just leaving it here with somebody who has arranged this. It can be copied, xeroxed, because none of this have got a copyright. It is not mine. It is our forefathers. Because it may be not my great-grandfather, it may be your great-grandfather who has written this sloka. And when we say that, when we hold water in our hand and chant Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Guru, it was not only a sloka which have to be chanted for realizing that this is the water temperature in which I am taking bath. It was also to connect to the whole India together. Because when you say Ganga, it is Jammu Kashmir, Yamuna, it is the next state, connect all the states. And when you say Kaveri, you will remember Jayalalitha, don't do that. You will remember about Tamil Nadu, etc. You will remember when you talk about Saraswati, you don't know where to look for, because Saraswati does not exist. And our satellite, we have got Indian satellite which goes around to the globe like this. Most of the countries have. The satellite takes pictures on the globe, on what is on the top, and what is below the ground also can be seen. We have identified Saraswati river below the ground, which was not existing on the top, and this information was passed on to archaeology department. They did a research, carbon dating technology, identified that the river went down in 3200 BC. That means the river was not existing on this part of the globe 5000 years back. So what I am trying to say is, when we are chanting Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Guru, this sloka must have written 5,000 years back, because this must not have been written using satellite technology. So they knew that this river was existing, probably 1,000 years earlier to that, so that 6,000 years. For a sloka to be written, you need the language to be developed much earlier to that. So Sanskrit must have been more than 10,000 years old. And when this sloka have to remain for years together like this, for 5,000 years, if there is no content, substance, there is nothing in that, why people should chant that for 5,000 years from generations to generations? I don't think nobody will remember sloka just like that. If you don't have reason for that, you don't remember. So this shows that our culture was staying with all the bad weathers which it had, with all the problems which it had, all the divisions and partitions which it had. It was surviving for years and years together. That shows that our culture is great. And the next revolution is going to be the revolution of spirituality. We had agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, everything. But nothing could make us happy, I am sure. Everything, whatever happened, IT revolution also is very great. But that also I don't think people are happy with that. We are again looking for something else. A revolution of spirituality will happen. That time we will all become happier. And people around the globe are looking for solutions to India. And our politicians go for treatment and all. Nothing can be done. And we are in the hands of such politicians. Let us realize that we are in the hands of the dirtiest people in the world. And we were leaving this for our fate for last 53 to 60 years. 50 years we have just left, 47 to 53. 56 years we have left. Nothing was done greater. We have not improved from what we were. Colonism have done something and the politicians are doing much worse than that. Let us not leave anything to that. We decided from Department of Space, I am there, CSIR scientist, the Gopalakrishnan is there. There are many people who are working on government salary. We are happy with the salary what we are getting. We are not coming for money. We are not coming for anything else. We have decided we have the right to talk about our nation, right to talk about our strength of our nation to the other part of the world. Everybody will start learning this, and the whole Janatati in Bharat will raise one day and say that we are proud of being the part of the nation, and that day we will live peacefully. Until then we are not going to sleep. We have decided that we are into this message. It's a mission being taken. Dr. Gopalakrishnan says that before Bharat celebrates its Shashthyapta Purti, 60th birthday, we will be changing this world, and the world will look for almost everything which they want to this nation, and the days are not far. All will be support. We will be with you, and we are sure that we will be able to change this world. I am seeing the change from each and every portion of the globe. I have seen in India totally there is a change. In Kerala being the hands of the Marxist fellows from south to north, whether the left or the right, the middle, we are not worried whether who rules. Whether left, right or the center or the up or north or south, nothing matters to us. We are pushing this message ahead, and everybody is accepting, and there is a large acceptance. Whether it is from Rotary Club, Lions Club, Women's Club, whether it is in the left wing, right wing, somewhere, wherever, Defense College of Management, you go to bank, everywhere, you talk about your problems and solutions for your daily life, they will accept it. I think solutions were available, and solutions also gives you a permanent solution and not a temporary solution, and people are looking for that, and it is assured that you will get it, and we are with you, and your support is very, very essential for such mission, and I wish that you will all be with us, and with this pranams to all of you.